Chapter 123. Lin Yuan was rubbing his temples with his fingers in deep thought. For the past 5 days, Lin Yuan had only slept about 5 hours a day on average. The rest of the time was used to enhance the jasmine lily, which made Lin Yuan very tired. This was because he needed to circulate the spiritual power in his body at all times during the enhancement. He would need to sleep for at least 5 hours a day to offset the consumption of such spiritual power circulation. Of course, this was under the premise that Lin Yuan had consumed a bowl of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar to wash out all the impurities in his body. If Lin Yuan had not consumed the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar, his body would not have been able to withstand such a strong enhancement. While in deep thought, Lin Yuan suddenly stood up. He asked someone to find a silver/epic fey and brought it into the spirit lock spatial zone for enhancement. Lin Yuan realized that it was really difficult for him to enhance a silver/epic fey to legend. This was because he had spent 2 days in the spirit lock spatial zone to enhance the silver/epic fey. Looking at the state of the silver/epic fey, Lin Yuan knew that his hard work in the past 2 days was almost a drop in the bucket to evolve the silver/epic fey to legend. If he wanted to do it, he would have to stay in the spirit lock spatial zone for at least 2 months without rest. The current situation made Lin Yuan even more aware that he was completely different from other creation masters. Other creation masters wanted to enhance phase from epic to legend. The higher the phase grade, the easier it would be. However, Lin Yuan was the opposite. The lower the grade of the fey, the easier it would be for him to enhance it from epic to legend. Given Lin Yuan's current strength, it was not enough to enhance a silver/epic fey to legend. If such a thing were to spread, it would probably subvert the views of other creation masters. If Lin Yuan raised his hand and auctioned off a bronze/legend fey, it would probably cause a sensation in the Radiance Federation. All the major factions in the Radiance Federation would probably come to fight for it. After the experiment, Lin Yuan asked someone to take the silver/epic needle-tailed squirrel out. Then, he went to the Radiant Moon Palace's inner palace to find the Moon Empress and told her about his intention to enter seclusion. Then he entered seclusion in the pavilion. He used over 20 days to upgrade Genius, Chimey, the Spirit Gather Goldfish, and the Blue Flash Purple Butterfly from Bronze/Epic to Legend. Rounding it up, it was a month's time. Lin Yuan had finally upgraded his 5 contracted phase from Epic to Legend. Lin Yuan was already very fatigued. Apart from ensuring that he had enough time to recover his stamina, he had been enhancing his phase quality. This made Lin Yuan feel very tired. However, the joy of seeing his contracted phase quality rise from epic to legend was hard to describe with words. He had watched Genius, Chimey, the Spirit Gather Goldfish, and the Blue Flash Purple Butterfly evolve. Now that it was at legend, the phase appearance didn't change much. However, his essence, chi, and spirit had all improved significantly. Intelligence's fur became softer, and its memory became better. The cloud patterns on Chimey's feathers were even more obvious, and its exclusive skill, Clear Sky's scorching characteristic, was even more intense. Her voice had also become more pleasing to the ear, and her singing had clearly improved to another level. However, Chimey didn't know that after disappearing for over a month, its fans had gone completely crazy. As a phenomenal host, Chimey's gift had covered the screen, and countless people had been intoxicated by its singing voice. Many people guessed that Chimey was an absolute beauty that only wanted to rely on her talent to make a living. In addition, Sequence 87 of the Radiance Sequence, Lord Ranger, had supported Chimey crazily. After defeating his opponent on the Celestial Stairway, he had publicly expressed that he liked listening to Chimey's songs, making Chimey even more famous. However, Chimey, which was like the sun in the sky, had suddenly disappeared without a sound. Furthermore, it had disappeared for a month. Countless posts on the Star Web were discussing this matter, and there were all kinds of speculations. The disappearance of the sparrow-voiced lowly goddess had become a popular news in the Radiance Federation's entertainment news. The Spirit Gather Goldfish had a unique prowess when it swam, which Lin Yuan had felt from Long Tao's Sea King Cretaceous Dragon. However, the prowess on the spirit-gather goldfish was still very faint. This prowess was the unique dragon might of dragon species phase. The blue flash purple butterfly scale powder had become more delicate and light, making it easier to spread. The light refracted by the fluttering scale powder was like a light purple rainbow with a base, which was exceptionally beautiful. Lin Yuan stretched and immediately lay on the bed to have a good sleep. He slept for an entire day, making up for his previous hard work, and allowing his body to recover to its most energetic state. This was because Lin Yuan was going to start fusing the Jasmine Lily with the Willpower Rune and evolve it into a fantasy breed. Lin Yuan held his breath and summoned one of the 3 Willpower Runes in his spiritual spatial zone. This Willpower Rune was what Lin Yuan had felt when he was looking at the Green Mountain. A big fire had burned the plants on the Green Mountain to the point where not a single blade of grass could grow. However, the continuous drizzle had allowed the Green Mountain to grow new green after a few months. In Lin Yuan's opinion, rather than saying that the rain was silently moisturizing things, it was better to say that the plants had strong vitality. The wildfire could not burn, and the spring wind would blow again. Perhaps the grass roots left in the mountain rocks would complete a life's praise in a few months' time. A new life of greenery. Looking at this green mountain-shaped willpower rune, Lin Yuan shot it toward the Jasmine Lily, which was already at Bronze X/Legend. In an instant, the Bronze X/Legend Jasmine Lily's flower suddenly swayed. They were very eager to embrace this mountain-shaped willpower rune. The instant the willpower rune fused into the Jasmine Lily, the willpower of the Green Mountain will never change, and everything will be reborn was suddenly transmitted, causing the Jasmine Lily's body to emit an emerald light. The Jasmine Lily's originally short branches suddenly shrank and disappeared. The Jasmine Lily's flowers popped out one after another, and in just a short while, the Jasmine Lily looked like it had almost turned into an emerald green bouquet. The flowers were close to each other, as though they had formed the shape of a mountain. The unique fragrance of the Jasmine Lily became richer. Lin Yuan exclaimed. The Jasmine Lily was actually growing in groups. Succulent plants were very unstable when they grew and evolved, and there was a small chance that they would mutate. Growing in groups was a kind of basic mutation of succulent plants. After growing in groups, succulent plants would give up a portion of their evolution potential and strengthen their current genetic model, evolving the current genetic model toward perfection. Due to Morbius spirit lock, the Jasmine Lily only had one ability, and that was heal. In other words, the Jasmine Lily gave up on the possibility of more abilities and used it to strengthen its current heal. Baidu was the first to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 124. It was impossible to control the mutation of a succulent. It was impossible to control the mutation of living in groups. Most people's contracted succulent plants did not like to live in groups. This was because most phase abilities would get stronger in the later stages, and there were very few exceptions like the blue flash butterfly. However, it was different when Lin Yuan's Jasmine Lily could only use one ability. After the Jasmine Lily grew in groups, each flower could release healing energy. This was the same as turning the Jasmine Lily from a single target healing to a group healing. Each flower was equivalent to an increase in the number of healers. Just as Lin Yuan thought that the Jasmine Lily was about to complete its evolution into a fantasy breed, the Jasmine Lily's originally round petals suddenly developed into an irregular shape. In just a moment, the bottom layer of the Jasmine Lily and those flower heads had all grown into an irregular shape. Only the largest Jasmine Lily's flower was left on top without any changes. This sudden change made Lin Yuan involuntarily cry out in surprise. After the Jasmine Lily grew in groups, it actually underwent the rarest form of succulent plants. Fasciation was also a type of mutation, and it belonged to the most irregular type of mutation among succulent plants. It allowed the plant's body to develop and grow unpredictably. At the same time, fasciation was also the most precious type of mutation for succulent plants. Lin Yuan had never heard of a fasciated Jasmine Lily, as fasciation could only happen when a succulent fae evolved into a fantasy breed. Almost no one would choose to evolve a basic fae like the Jasmine Lily into a fantasy breed. Therefore, Lin Yuan's fasciated jasmine lily was most likely the only one in the world. The fasciated jasmine lily's petals grew layer by layer, destroying the flower's original structure. Therefore, the emerald green in the middle of the jasmine lily scattered to various parts of the leaves. Looking at it now, it looked like a lingering emerald haze, just like the mist of supreme-grade jadeite. The unchanging jasmine lily's flower at the top had become the size of a bowl. At this moment, the jasmine lily was considered to have truly evolved into a fantasy breed. After Lin Yuan's jasmine lily evolved into a fantasy breed, he immediately used the jasmine lily on himself. When Lin Yuan felt the surging vitality pouring into his body, he was actually dazed for 3 seconds. Due to the surging vitality, Lin Yuan suddenly had a feeling like he was lying on a soft big bed when he was the most sleepy. It was like he wanted to laze in bed in the morning and would not be woken up no matter what. Lin Yuan considered himself a strong-willed person, but it was still very difficult for him to recover from this extreme happiness. When he regained his senses, he looked at the jasmine lily and couldn't help but have an idea. The jasmine lily's heal was clearly a healing skill. However, it seemed like it could be used as a control skill. The sense of bliss produced by the comfortable feeling in the bookstore and the absent-mindedness was actually a kind of unexpected control. After some experiments, Lin Yuan finally knew where the sense of happiness came from. Using the flower of the jasmine lily that hadn't undergone its fasciation to treat him would only allow him to quickly recover from his injuries. He wouldn't be able to experience the blissful feeling of having his vitality replenished to the extreme. However, when those irregular flowers were used for treatment, a sense of happiness arose spontaneously. It seemed that the embellishment had mutated the jasmine lily's heal skill. When Lin Yuan looked at the exclusive skill that appeared after the jasmine lily became a fantasy breed, he could not help but stare blankly at it in his hand. Normal Spirit Lock, Jasmine Lily, Bronze X/Fantasy Eye Ability. Heal, recovers injuries and replenishes vitality. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Recovery Imprint. Stores the healing energy that the jasmine lily normally releases. The contractor can activate the imprint to release the stored healing energy. Severed Growth. Comprehend the mystery of plant growth. Even a severed limb's rich vitality can slowly continue to grow. What kind of superb item have I evolved into? The fantasy breed's exclusive skill, Severed Growth, could use surging vitality to activate the body's cells' memory factors. Thus, it could achieve the ability to regrow severed limbs. Of course, this kind of severed limbs only referred to the hands and feet, or even the arms and thighs. If one's head fell off, one could only die immediately. Even an immortal would not be able to do anything, unless one's head fell off due to laughter. Now that Lin Yuan had his first fantasy breed Fae, the first thing he did was to upgrade the jasmine lily. Lin Yuan originally thought that it would not be difficult for him to upgrade a jasmine lily from bronze to gold. However, when it came to upgrading a fantasy breed Fae, Lin Yuan found that it was simply terrible. Lin Yuan entered seclusion for another month before he painstakingly upgraded the jasmine lily to silver. Now Lin Yuan seemed to suddenly understand why the earlier a fantasy breed Fae evolved into a fantasy breed, the greater its potential. Energy was conserved, and the injection of so much spirit chi for a month only allowed the fantasy breed to evolve from bronze X to silver, crossing a threshold that could be broken with a touch before evolving into a fantasy breed. The spirit chi would not vanish into thin air, so this massive amount of spirit chi was absorbed by the fantasy breed jasmine lily. The massive amount of spirit chi laid down a foundation was naturally much stronger than the phase that evolved from bronze to fantasy breed. During this period of time, Lin Yuan had been in seclusion and evolving phase in the spirit lock spatial zone all day, which was driving him crazy. Life wasn't just about the present, but also poetry and the future. The past 2 months had given Lin Yuan the capital to step into the world, and it was time to see the world. Only by seeing the world would he know how to live like a gorgeous summer flower. Therefore, Lin Yuan decided to go to the endless forest outside the imperial capital for a wild harvest. The phase that creation masters enhanced weren't all artificially reared. Some of the rarer phase were collected in the wild. Creation masters would use spiritual ingredients and other methods to attract fays, using the spirit chi contained in the spiritual ingredients to let wild fays get close to humans. After a series of enhancements, they would then be sold. Lin Yuan didn't have to go through so much trouble. Lin Yuan just needed to circulate his spirit chi and place his palm on the wild fay, and the pure spirit chi would quickly gain the favorable impression of the wild fay. Lin Yuan was preparing to open his own store in the royal capital. Although he hadn't opened his store yet, it was imperative to harvest some rare fays in advance. Otherwise, Lin Yuan couldn't always pick up endangered fays with damaged roots. Not only were such fays hard to find, but even if he found high-grade fays, Lin Yuan wouldn't be able to heal them. Moreover, the Pure Land of Bliss in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone already had a Cinnabar Sweet Osmanthus and a recovering Cinnabar Osmanthus Haworthia. If he were to bring in some other fays with damaged roots, the Pure Land of Bliss in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone wouldn't be big enough. Moreover, Lin Yuan was still waiting to consume the Cinnabar Osmanthus Haworthia's fruit to enhance his spiritual energy. Increasing his spiritual energy was what Lin Yuan urgently wanted. After tidying up, Lin Yuan was ready to set off. Lin Yuan planned to settle down the store once he returned to the royal capital after this wild harvest. He wanted to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 125. He looked at the sky and saw the rosy clouds in the royal capital's red sky, which was particularly eye-catching. The fiery clouds made the sky seem exceptionally high and vast. It was already dusk. Since Lin Yuan had decided to go out and did not plan to stay on the Leaning Moon Mountain for a long time, he simply went to the Radiant Moon Palace to bid farewell to his master, the Moon Empress. Lin Yuan had just left the pavilion when the Mother of Bloodbath opened its eyes on the beam and jumped onto the leaf-shaped face storage box hanging in front of Lin Yuan's chest. It continued to lie motionlessly and comprehend the law runes that it controlled. When the Moon Empress saw Lin Yuan in the inner palace, her eyes lit up. This seclusion has been going on for over 2 months. Did you gain anything during these 2 months? Lin Yuan touched the back of his head and smiled brightly, revealing a mouthful of white teeth that was full of youthful aura. I can't return the gains from this seclusion. To Lin Yuan, this seclusion had increased the quality of his 5 fays from epic to legend. Furthermore, he had obtained his first fantasy breed fay, which was considered a huge and important gain. Upon hearing that, the Moon Empress smiled and nodded. She had always admired Lin Yuan's character, but she did not expect him to be so hardworking in cultivation. Nowadays, there weren't many people in the younger generation who could seclude themselves in their houses for more than 2 months without going out. Ever since the Moon Empress had taken Lin Yuan in as a disciple, apart from teaching him the corresponding knowledge, she had not asked him about his creation master or spirit chi professional advancement speed. On one hand, it was because she felt that the initiative and cultivation still depended on one's own consciousness. On the other hand, she did not want to give Lin Yuan pressure, so she had not asked. Since the Moon Empress did not ask, Lin Yuan did not mention his level, whether it was because he had 3 willpower runes, or the Jasmine Lily, that had evolved into a fantasy breed at bronze. The Moon Empress was his master. The Moon Empress was his master. If the Moon Empress asked, he would naturally tell her, and wouldn't intentionally hide it. However, the Moon Empress did not ask, and Lin Yuan was an introverted person, so he naturally would not take the initiative to reveal it. Lin Yuan felt that it was fine as long as he knew how capable he was. After all, these were his means and not capital to show off. If it was someone else with Lin Yuan's ability, they would have already publicized it. Previously, he had been afraid of revealing too much of himself, which might lead to the saying, "The tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind." However, now that he had the Moon Empress as his master, he naturally did not need to be afraid of these things. With the Moon Empress around, no matter how strong the wind was, Lin Yuan's tall and straight small tree would not be disturbed in the slightest. Moreover, the suzerain/myth Mother of Bloodbath was always by his side. If someone still dared to have any ideas about Lin Yuan, that person would have to worry about himself. After chatting for a moment, Lin Yuan explained to the Moon Empress the reason for his visit. Upon hearing his words, the Moon Empress raised her hand and handed him a dark brown beetle-shaped accessory. There was a pin at the back of the accessory that could be hung on his body. At a glance, Lin Yuan recognized that the beetle-shaped accessory was a diamond face storage box. However, this beetle-shaped face storage box was dark brown in color, and there were some dark green patterns on it, making it look a little strange. It wasn't as pretty as the leaf-shaped diamond face storage box. Lin Yuan took this strange beetle-shaped diamond face storage box and listened to the Moon Empress explanation. This diamond face storage box contains all the wealth that Chen Zhao has accumulated as a pinnacle class 4 creation master for so many years. When he attacked you previously, take the things in this face storage box as a way to calm your shock. Lin Yuan looked at the Moon Empress' concerned eyes and didn't refuse. He then put away this diamond beetle-shaped face storage box. When he put it away, Lin Yuan took a look at this diamond face storage box. He realized that there were no spiritual ingredients that he didn't recognize in this diamond face storage box. There weren't even any spiritual ingredients. It was all a massive amount of radiance dollars. Lin Yuan had previously used his Star Web card to transfer his purchases, so although he knew what physical radiance dollars looked like, he had never used them before. Now that he looked at this diamond face storage box, there was a small mountain of bottle cap-sized amber button-shaped radiance dollars. Lin Yuan felt that this glance was really a little shocking. He didn't know how many radiance dollars there were in this small mountain. A pinnacle class 4 creation master's wealth really couldn't be underestimated. After sitting for a while, Lin Yuan was about to bid farewell when he heard the Moon Empress say softly, "The road in the future is very long, and the sky is very wide. The road ahead is long, and the sky is wide. Whether or not you can fly to the highest, furthest, and widest place is all up to you. Remember, no matter what happens in the future, Master will always be your support." When Lin Yuan heard the Moon Empress' words, his eyes felt warm, and a feeling of being protected rose from the bottom of his heart. Lin Yuan was used to being independent, but he cherished this feeling very much. After bowing respectfully as a disciple, Lin Yuan returned to his pavilion and prepared to set off the next morning. Previously, Lin Yuan was still thinking about where he should open his store and how much area he should buy. He still needed to make some choices. However, with the wealth in Chen Zhao's diamond face storage box, Lin Yuan had more choices if he wanted to open a store, and he didn't need to worry about expenses. As a creation master, Lin Yuan might have a strong ability to earn money, but he still lacked capital. With capital, Lin Yuan wouldn't need to be restrained in anything he wanted to do. After Lin Yuan left, Cold Moon went forward and saw that the Moon Empress had been looking in the direction Lin Yuan had left. "Moon Empress, are you worried about Lin Yuan?" The Moon Empress shook her head, picked up the teapot on the table, poured a cup of tea, and took a sip. "It's not that I'm worried, but I'm proud and a little reluctant to see my disciple want to venture on his own." Upon hearing that, Cold Moon said softly, "Moon Empress, didn't you exchange all of Cheng Wu's accumulated wealth for radiance dollars to give Lin Yuan the capital to venture on his own? Moon Empress, you've put in a lot of effort." The Moon Empress shook her head and didn't continue to say anything. After taking in a disciple, she finally understood the true responsibility of a teacher. The continuation of life and the passing of the torch were never as simple as it sounded. It was a kind of relationship that might not be as close as blood, but it could already rise to the level of blood kinship when they became master and disciple. At that moment, footsteps came from outside the palace. Mystic Moon walked into the inner palace and bowed. "Moon Empress, Cheng Wu has been in the Sin cleansing pond for 2 months and just died. The Spirit Guard's Chief Guard Yi and Patrol Envoy Iron Prison are asking you how they should deal with him." The Moon Empress stood up and was about to walk to the breeding room. Her cold voice carried a sharp chill. "He's already dead. What else is there to deal with? Let them handle it themselves. After Chen Zhao was hit by my moon essence, he was still able to survive in the Sin cleansing pond for 2 months. How can I let him live if he wants to harm my disciple? You can't even survive in the pond of cleansing." Baidu read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 126. The next morning, Lin Yuan left the Leaning Moon Mountain early and traveled light. Everything was stored in the diamond face storage box hanging on his chest. It had to be said that it was really convenient to have a diamond face storage box. Last night, Lin Yuan had sent a message to Lu Jie and told him not to have so many concerns when choosing a store. If he wanted to choose a store, he would choose one that was bigger and had a relatively good location. Lin Yuan no longer needed to worry about money. After leaving the Leaning Moon Mountain, Lin Yuan's goal was very clear. This time, Lin Yuan called for a speed-hoofed donkey cart and headed to the Guild Alliance. This Guild Alliance was not an official organization like the Creation Master Association or other lifestyle class spirit chi occupation guilds. The Guild Alliance was an alliance formed by countless guild clubs in the Radiance Federation that relied on the combat class spirit chi occupation guilds. Lin Yuan was going to register and get certified in this Guild Alliance. After registering in the Guild Alliance, if Lin Yuan wanted to go wild, he could join some guild club teams and form a temporary team. He could even accept and issue missions in the Guild Alliance. If the Star Web was the Radiance Federation's second world and carried the second world's industry, the Guild Alliance was the place where most combat class spirit chi professionals lived, worked, and trained in the real world. Accepting and completing missions would allow one to obtain a large amount of commissions. If there were bosses that issued missions, one could obtain the spiritual ingredients or phase that one needed as soon as possible with sufficient rewards. There were also many creation masters that needed special spiritual ingredients and would issue missions to the Guild Alliance. Some of the high-reward missions would even be accepted by famous guild club teams. Of course, in most cases, the phase in the Guild Alliance's missions were all basic rare phase. If one wanted to evolve a rare phase or increase its quality, one would need to look for a creation master. If there was a place where creation masters were the most respected and supported, it had to be the Guild Alliance. In the Guild Alliance's independent teams, the combat class spirit chi professionals were mostly low-level and didn't have outstanding aptitudes. They might work hard for 1 or 2 years just to increase the phase quality or grade. Most of the truly talented or stronger spirit chi professionals had joined club-like guilds. If a talented person wanted to be selected by a powerful club guild, the best way was to reach the 80th floor of the Star Tower, or even the Celestial Stairway. This was because the powerful club guilds would choose to recruit new blood in the Star Tower. The Radiance Federation revered martial arts. Throughout the year, there would be competitions between various club guilds of all sizes. Every year, the Guild Alliance would cooperate with the Radiance Federation's officials to organize a tournament for the entire Radiance Federation's guild teams. It was commonly known as the S-Tournament. The S-Tournament was considered a competition for the younger generation, and the contestants could not be older than 30 years old. It was almost the same age as the Radiance Federation's Radiance 100 sequence members. In the S-Tournament, some of the truly powerful guild clubs would participate. These guild clubs' main teams would more or less have Radiance 100 sequence members. The Radiance 100 sequence members were the most dazzling star contestants in the S-Tournament. In fact, some clubs' main teams were made up of Radiance 100 sequence members. Each guild could only send one team, and each team had 5 members. Every team had to participate in various knockout rounds and qualifiers. In the end, 16 teams would be selected to compete on Star Web under the eyes of all the Radiance Federation's citizens. The 16 teams that qualified had a ranking, and the top 3 teams would be divided into the champion, runner-up, and third-place teams. They would all receive different levels of rewards from the officials and obtain supreme glory. However, people would often only remember the champion. After all, since ancient times, there had been a saying, "There is no first place in literature, and there is no second place in martial arts." There was no difference in academics, and hundreds of schools of thought could contend. However, in martial arts, the strong and the weak would be clear at a glance after a fight. Lin Yuan had arrived at the Guild Alliance's entrance and gotten off the speed-hoofed donkey cart. Lin Yuan looked at the lively and prosperous scene in front of him and touched the back of his head. It was said that the Guild Alliance was the most lively place in the royal capital. And it seemed to be true now. When Lin Yuan entered the Guild Alliance, he realized that many people's eyes were focused on him. One of the Guild Alliance's receptionists came up to greet him enthusiastically and also looked at him with burning eyes. Soon, Lin Yuan found out where the problem was. It turned out that these people were looking at the Class 2 Creation Master crest hanging on his chest. It seemed that Creation Masters would be particularly eye-catching no matter where they went. At this time, the Guild Alliance's receptionist said respectfully, "Lord Class 2 Creation Master, are you here at the Guild Alliance to issue a mission or to hire a guild club team?" Lin Yuan hurriedly shook his head. "This is my first time at the Guild Alliance. I plan to register at the Guild Alliance." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the receptionist's face immediately lit up and he hurriedly replied, "Yes, sir." "Then, my lord, please follow me to the VIP reception room." After that, the receptionist hurriedly led the way. The receptionist was overjoyed. Although Creation Masters would issue missions in the Guild Alliance, they only needed to be authenticated in the Guild Alliance. Very few Creation Masters would choose to register in the Guild Alliance. This was because the purpose of registering with the Guild Alliance was to be able to accept quests. If a Creation Master wanted to earn money to concoct spiritual ingredients and nurture phase, they wouldn't need to accept missions from the Guild Alliance. If any of the Guild Alliance's receptionists could receive a Creation Master and help the Creation Master complete the registration in the Guild Alliance, they would receive a considerable commission. This commission was almost equivalent to the receptionist's monthly salary. Therefore, Lin Yuan's registration was completely great news in the receptionist's eyes. When Lin Yuan entered the VIP lounge, he removed the Class 2 Creation Master crest that was hanging on his chest without leaving a trace. At the same time, he summoned Genius and let it undergo tool transformation. Genius tool transformation had two forms. One was a pair of glasses, and the other was a pair of glasses that turned into a mask. This time, Lin Yuan chose the form of a mask. Chimey turned into a silver-white mask with clear and shallow patterns that perfectly fitted on Lin Yuan's face. After putting on the mask, Lin Yuan's entire aura changed. He was still a sunny big boy previously, but after putting on the mask and the black spirit chi clothes, he looked very calm. Soon enough, Lin Yuan completed his business at the Guild Alliance. Lin Yuan's business was also very simple. He just bound the other star web card that he had obtained when becoming a Class 2 Creation Master to himself. Then, he bound his identity as a Creation Master to the purchase with no loss store. At the same time, he transferred his Star Tower climbing account to the other star web card. Baidu was the first to read the latest chapter of the Imperial Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 127. From then on, Lin Yuan had two identities on Star Web and in the Radiance Federation. One was a Genius Class 2 Creation Master Lin Yuan. His other identity was Mr. Black, who was fighting in the Star Tower. Black was the name Lin Yuan had just given to his other identity. Lin Yuan's actions were essentially the same as separating his identity as a Creation Master and a Combat Class Spirit Chi Professional. After completing the registration and certification, Lin Yuan waved his hand when he saw that the salesperson still wanted to follow him. "I'll go take a look myself. You go and receive the others." After speaking, he walked toward the mission location. After seeing that Lin Yuan had walked far away, the receptionist muttered, "That's right. Such a young Class 2 Creation Master is actually a healing-type Spirit Chi Professional at the same time. Such a combination is simply making me jealous." "That's right, Mr. Black was certified as a healing-type Spirit Chi Professional. When he arrived at the mission location, he was ready to find a team to head to the Endless Forest. As a result, he found that almost all the teams were looking for healing-type Spirit Chi Professionals. In this somewhat noisy mission location, there were quite a few people yelling. 2 Power Offense-type Spirit Chi Professionals, 1 Defense-type Spirit Chi Professional, and 1 Support-type Spirit Chi Professional. "We are waiting for a Healing-type Spirit Chi Professional." 3 Fires Guild Club. 3 guilds working together to capture a gold phantom lynx youngling. 14 Waiting for one. They were lacking a healing-type spirit chi professional. If you come, we'll let you be the boss. The Cedar Grass Guild Club's team is going to the Endless Forest to capture 10 silver blackback mountain boars. We are taking advantage of the price of pork to earn a huge sum of money. We are waiting for a healing-type spirit chi professional. Please, healer dad, healer mom, hurry up and join the team. After joining the team, you can take 30% of the total profit. Lin Yuan could not help but secretly raise his brows. Healing-type spirit chi professionals are really popular. Lin Yuan had known that healing-type spirit chi professionals were rare. According to the Radiance Federation statistics, only 1 out of every 100 spirit chi professionals had an affinity with a healing-type fae. Upon hearing the data, Lin Yuan could only sigh at the rarity of healing-type spirit chi professionals. However, when Lin Yuan was in the Guild Alliance's mission area and saw that all the teams were looking for healing-type spirit chi professionals to join them, the concept of healing-type spirit chi professionals became clear. A healing-type spirit chi professional was simply treated like a boss in every team. If one wanted to harvest good stuff in the Endless Forest, they had to go deep into the Endless Forest. Clearly, this Cedar Grass Guild Club's team had gone to capture the silver blackback mountain boar. It was impossible for them to venture deep into the Endless Forest, because there were blackback mountain boars in the periphery of the Endless Forest. Recently, a Class 2 dimensional rift had opened above the Radiance Federation's largest pig farm. This dimensional rift was very close to the Radiance Federation's largest pig farm. Almost all the life forms in the dimensional rift would fall into this pig farm when they emerged from the dimensional rift. The tens of millions of pig species phase in the pig farm had been killed and eaten by the dimensional life forms almost instantly. In the end, the situation was under control, and the life forms surging out of the dimensional rift were killed. However, the Radiance Federation's largest pig farm had suffered a heavy blow. Tens of millions of pig species phase had died, causing the price of pork to double. Therefore, there were teams of spirit chi professionals everywhere to catch pigs in the wild. The pigs were mainly used for reproduction, and a small number of elderly pig species phase that couldn't reproduce would be used as meat. After all, old pork was more fragrant. At this mission location, there were plenty of lone spirit chi professionals looking for teams. As lone combat class spirit chi professionals that often ventured into the wild, as they always had to integrate into various teams, most of them had developed a friendly personality. When one of the burly men, who was also looking for a mission, saw Lin Yuan standing there, he took the initiative to go forward and speak passionately. "Little brother, instead of waiting for a mission here, why don't you take the initiative to talk to those guild teams that need members?" Lin Yuan turned around and saw the burly man looking at him with a straightforward expression. According to the burly man, Lin Yuan understood that those guild teams seemed to be more popular than the scattered teams. At a glance, it was indeed harder for scattered teams to form a spirit chi professional than guild teams. Most of the guild club teams were waiting for a healing-type spirit chi professional. Many of the scattered teams had given up on forming a healing-type spirit chi professional, but the 5-member team was still not complete. Upon seeing Lin Yuan nod, the burly man laughed heartily. "This is your first time looking for a team and accepting a mission, right?" Lin Yuan couldn't help but be curious. How did this burly man see that it was his first time accepting a mission? Did he really look like a newbie with a mask on? "Why are you so sure that this is my first time accepting a mission? I might be a veteran." The burly man pointed at the spirit chi clothing that Lin Yuan was wearing and spoke with some envy. Who would wear this kind of spirit chi clothing on an adventure? If this clothing is scratched a little, then the money earned from this mission won't be enough to subsidize the clothing. "Young man, your family is rather well off. Do you need a veteran to guide you? If you need, I can." Lin Yuan then knew where the problem was. However, when he heard the burly man say that he could, Lin Yuan suddenly felt a slight chill on his back and blurted out, "No, you can't." When the burly man heard Lin Yuan's rejection, he shrugged and didn't mind. Immediately after, he looked at a guild team not far away and pointed with his finger. Isn't there someone wearing spirit chi clothing on an adventure? Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the burly man reached out and patted the chain armor on his body. This is the clothing that should be worn on an adventure. They are wearing spirit chi clothing because they are healing-type spirit chi professionals and are the boss of the team. Lin Yuan reached out to touch the back of his head and looked at the burly man who patted the chain armor on his body. How do you know that I'm not a healing-type spirit chi professional? The burly man rolled his eyes angrily. If you were a healing-type spirit chi professional, you could still find a team here. The Guild Alliance's reception staff would have already received you and helped you find a team that requires healing based on your purpose. At that moment, Lin Yuan recalled the reception staff that had been following him. When Lin Yuan saw that the reception staff had been following him with a hesitant expression, he realized that the reception staff was trying to help him find a team. When the burly man saw that Lin Yuan didn't continue speaking, he laughed heartily and patted Lin Yuan's shoulder in a friendly manner. When a newcomer is looking for a team, it is best to find a team that doesn't require combat. It is best to gather some basic spiritual ingredients and familiarize yourself with the wilderness environment. If you recklessly accept a Fey capturing mission that requires combat, you might get injured and even implicate the team. Unless you are a healing-type spirit chi professional, the other team members will do their best to protect you. The burly man had already determined that Lin Yuan was a newcomer, so he spoke very seriously. Lin Yuan naturally understood this logic, but he still expressed his gratitude for being reminded by a stranger. When the burly man saw that Lin Yuan had listened, he wanted to encourage Lin Yuan again. But at that moment, he heard the noise in the mission area suddenly become softer. Baiduan wanted to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free immediately. Chapter 128. The voice suddenly became softer, causing Lin Yuan and the middle-aged man beside him to immediately look around. Lin Yuan saw a group of people dressed in white and red with eagles drawn on their clothes walk in. At a glance, he could tell that they were all youths in their early 20s. The four of them were wearing the same clothes, which seemed to be the uniform of a club's guild team. One of the tall and skinny men shouted as soon as he reached the mission area. The train to the endless forest is about to depart. Old Driver is leading the team, and we are in urgent need of a healing-type spirit chi professional. As long as you come, you will be my little baby, and I will let you experience the most comfortable ride. The man didn't even get to say 2 words before a blonde girl slapped him on the back, causing him to cough. The woman with dyed blonde hair glared at the tall and thin man and said angrily, "Zhang Xiaobai, why are you always so straight? You really piss me off." The tall, thin man looked at the blonde woman and suddenly exclaimed, "Xianing, how dare you say provoke?" As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Xiaobai was punched by the blonde woman again. After a series of heavy punches, Zhang Xiaobai became completely obedient. At this time, the blonde woman shouted loudly, "The Extreme Battle Team's tournament reserve team is going into the depths of the endless forest to search for the gold jade unicorn ice snake's venom. They are in urgent need of a healing-type spirit chi professional. The healing-type spirit chi professional is required to be at least C rank and have a healing-type Fey that is at least silver." As soon as the woman's voice fell, the scene became lively. Clearly, this team's reputation was not weak. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard the burly man smacking his lips and cheering, as though he had fallen into a fanatical state. Tisk tsk tsk. As expected of the reserve team of the second-tier guild's tournament team, Sister Xianing is getting prettier and prettier. Lin Yuan was a little speechless. It turned out that this uncle was a fan who chased after a celebrity. However, he did not know if this uncle was chasing after the Extreme Guild Club's team or the girl he was talking about. Lin Yuan could not help but pat the burly man's shoulder. Where did this team come from? The burly man looked at Lin Yuan with a face of disbelief and widened his eyes. "You don't even know this team? Even if you don't know this team, you should know about the Extreme Guild Club, right?" Lin Yuan still shook his head. The burly man immediately blew his mustache. "Kid, don't try to fool me. You don't even know about the B-Rank Guild Club, the Extreme Guild. It's not that you don't have a star web card, or that you've never used a star web card before. The burly man's words rendered Lin Yuan speechless. He had been on the star web before, but he had been enhancing phase. How could he have the time to bother about things that weren't related to enhancing phase? Although Lin Yuan did not know about the Extreme Guild Club, he still knew about the B Guild Club. Now Lin Yuan finally knew why this four-man squad was so popular. The S tournament was the top team competition of the Radiance Federation's youth generation. The Radiance 100 sequence was an individual ranking that was arranged in sequence order. The S tournament was a 5-man team. When teams fought, not only did they have to compete in strength, but they also had to compete in tactics. This was much more exciting than a duel. In the S tournament, every Radiance 100 sequence member's performance might even affect the Radiance 100 sequence's ranking. The Radiance Federation had only certified 16 A-class guild clubs. The rankings of these 16 A-grade club guilds would rotate every year, because these 16 A-grade club guilds were the club guilds of the 16 teams that qualified for the S tournament. The remaining club guilds that were qualified to qualify for the next round were the Tier 2 guilds. Many B-class guild clubs had made it to the A-class guild clubs, but they had later fallen due to the S tournament's failure. This team was the reserve team of the B-class guild club, the Extreme Guild Club, and the S tournament's team. If a member of the S tournament team was unable to participate due to some special reasons, these reserve members would replace them. It was obvious that the 4 members of this 4-man squad were considered dragons and phoenixes among the younger generation. When the burly man saw that Lin Yuan did not know about the Extreme Guild Club's team, he had such an unbelievable reaction. In fact, it proved how popular the S tournament was in the Radiance Federation. There were no so-called actors in this world. Even if there were some who sang on the star web, they were just a minority. The real traffic in this world was actually the younger generation that participated in the S tournament. Furthermore, the Radiance 100 sequence members were the superstars among the stars. This team was very much in line with Lin Yuan's requirements to go to the Endless Forest for wild harvesting. At the same time, Lin Yuan also met this team's requirements. Just as Lin Yuan was about to step forward and apply to join the team, a healing-type spirit chi professional was already walking toward the 4-man squad. Lin Yuan saw that the healing-type spirit chi professional was already one step ahead of him, and was walking toward the Extreme Guild Club's 4-man squad. Lin Yuan did not move his feet. The healing-type spirit chi professional walked in front of the 4-man squad, and used his spiritual energy to summon his fae. The summoned fae was a somewhat ugly strange bird. It did not have any feathers, but some wrinkled and dry skin. The grayish-black wrinkled and dry skin only had some orange spots on its back. Lin Yuan used true data to check this fae's attributes. Fae name: Spitting Turtledove Fae species. Dove family/Turtledove Fae grade. Bronze 10/10. Fae type: Flight Fae quality. Elite abilities: Frowny face wing flap. When flapping its wings in flight, it can carry out rapid acceleration and produce impact within the flapping range. Sticky saliva. Secretes highly sticky saliva that can prevent wounds from bleeding and slowly heal external injuries. Pungent saliva. Secretes saliva that has a pungent smell. The pungent smell of saliva can reduce the pain of wounds and refresh the mind. Exclusive skill: Frowny face over secretion. The spitting turtledove's salivary glands are very developed and can rapidly secrete a large amount of saliva. All along, healing-type faes were mostly plant-type faes. A bird-type healing-type fae wasn't considered too common among healing-type faes. However, this didn't mean that such rare healing-type faes would be expensive. Take this spitting turtledove in front of Lin Yuan for example. On the contrary, the spitting turtledove was very cheap because its ability was simply too disgusting. When this spitting turtledove was summoned, Zhang Xiaobai couldn't help but sing. The old Indian turtledove has short legs and little fur. It can survive without drinking water for a few days. Its brain is a little messed up. It is sadder than anyone else when its prey dies. Upon hearing this song, Lin Yuan couldn't help but be surprised. Baiduan wanted to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 129. Lin Yuan was simply too familiar with the song that Zhang Xiaobai was singing. It was the song of a superstar singer, Jay Chou, in Lin Yuan's previous life. Before transmigrating, Lin Yuan had always been Jay Chou's loyal fan, and had heard almost all of Jay Chou's songs. Even if he could not remember the lyrics, and could not sing, he could still hum them. Lin Yuan liked this Indiana old turtle dove very much, and remembered the lyrics clearly. When he had been working and tending to Fays in the Redbud City Xia region, he would hum it when he had nothing to do. But how could Zhang Xiaobai sing this song? After Zhang Xiaobai sang 2 lines, many of the other teams that were looking for members actually applauded. Zhang Xiaobai, your sparrow voice lowly goddess's singing is not bad. It's a bit like that. Wow wow wow. As expected of the Extreme Guild Club's Zhang Xiaobai, he's really starting to perform again. Sparrow voice lowly goddess hasn't shown up for more than 2 months. I don't know what she's been busy with. She actually left so many fans behind. I'm willing to use the happiness of over 100 ex-boyfriends in exchange for her quick return. Sigh, did you guys see the previous Star Web interview? I heard that Lord Ranger is Sparrow Voice Lowly Goddess's #1. Ever since she disappeared, Lord Ranger has been pulling a long face and didn't say much during the Star Web interview. It made the host very embarrassed. When Lin Yuan heard the applause and the discussions mixed in the applause, he could not help but frown even tighter. Who is this Sparrow Voice Lowly Goddess? As a contracted Fays with higher intelligence could sense the changes in the contractor's thoughts and emotions. At that moment, Chimey was happily eating the platinum celery vine's leaves in the Spirit Lock spatial zone. Chimey would fly very high every time, and then swoop down to tear off a small piece, peck it with its beak and swallow it. While eating and playing, it would also fly to the spirit pool to drink a few mouthfuls of water from time to time. However, when Chimey sensed Lin Yuan's emotions and thoughts, it stopped eating the platinum celery vine and drinking the spirit pool's water. Chimey didn't eat the platinum celery vine and didn't drink the water in the spirit pool. It landed on the table obediently and shrunk its neck. It was precisely because of Lin Yuan's thoughts that Chimey, which had been happily eating platinum celery vines, remembered its live-streaming career that had been abandoned for more than 2 months. Chimey secretly flew up and arrived at the pure land of Paradise's white sand. It used its wings to fan away the white muslin on the sand. Buried in the fine white sand was the Star Web account card that Chimey had used for live streaming. Chimey tilted its tiny head and looked at the account card. It was time for a live broadcast. Zhang Xiaobai was enjoying the applause around him, but he accidentally saw Xaning clenching her fists and looking at him. Zhang Xiaobai shouted at the surroundings. Everyone, please be kind and stop clapping. If you continue clapping, half of my life will be taken by this woman. The other adventurers around them laughed and began to look for their teammates. Lin Yuan looked at this spitting turtle dove and touched his chin. Although the spitting turtle dove's healing method was a little disgusting, both its sticky saliva and pungent saliva were quite effective. One can effectively stop bleeding and heal external injuries. The other can effectively toughen one's mind and ignore the pain caused by external injuries in battle. Coupled with the exclusive skill, over-secretion, it greatly increased the spitting turtle dove's healing ability. As a healing type Fae, the spitting turtle dove had a pretty good exclusive skill that could be paired with abilities. It was just that this spitting turtle dove was only bronze rank level 10, although it was only one barrier away from silver rank. Its healing ability was many times worse. Obviously, this healing type spirit chi professional could not meet the requirements of the Extreme Guild Club's 4-man team. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard the uncle beside him suddenly start to complain. The orange spots on this healing type spirit chi professional's spitting turtle dove's back aren't connected. It's obviously not silver. If young sister Xaning lets him join the team, he'll drag the team down. Lin Yuan could hear the uncle's intention to protect the Extreme Guild Club's 4-man team. He was indeed a professional fan. Not far away, the yellow-haired Xaning first turned her head to the left and found that Zhang Xiaobai was winking at the surrounding adventurers. She turned her head to the right, and the hair hit Zhang Xiaobai's head when she turned her head. Zhang Xiaobai didn't have time to wink. He grimaced in pain as he rubbed his cheek that had been hit by the golden hair. Xiaoning looked at the other two teammates and said, Tanran, Lu Pinru, what do you think? Tanran, Lu Pinru, what do you think? The man called Tanran had chestnut-colored hair with natural curls and a harmless smile on his face. As for the girl called Lu Pinru, she had short hair that reached her ears. However, she was carrying a huge rectangular wooden object on her back. It was almost twice her height and looked a little strange. Lin Yuan looked over and could not help but wonder if this woman called Lu Pinru was carrying a large wardrobe at home with her. Lu Pinru looked at the healing-type spirit chi professional who had applied to join the team and shook her head. We're going to the depths of the endless forest to collect the Jade Unicorn Ice Snake's venom. The Jade Unicorn Ice Snake might be a gold fey, but there might be platinum feys in its habitat. We won't be able to bring enough supplies with us. The curly-haired Tanran also said seriously. He circulated his spiritual power when summoning the fey. I sensed his spiritual power fluctuation, and he should only be at the pinnacle of D rank. He's still a little away from C rank, so I refused to let him join the team. Although Tanran spoke very seriously, with his cute appearance, he actually gave off the feeling of a little puppy acting coquettishly. When Xiaoning heard her teammate's opinion, she turned to reject the healing-type spirit chi professional who had applied to join the team. The healing-type spirit chi professional was not annoyed when he was rejected. He was just a little disappointed, but he then grinned and took out a book. Boo-hoo! I knew it was impossible for me to act with you guys. But since we almost became teammates, can you give me an autograph? Lin Yuan could not help but be speechless. It turned out that this healing-type spirit chi professional already knew it was impossible for him to join the team. As a fan of these people, he simply wanted to find an excuse to ask for an autograph. The few people from the Extreme Guild Club also graciously took the book and signed their names. At that moment, the burly man beside Lin Yuan actually cried out, Sob, sob, sob. I also want young sister Xianying's autograph. Just as he finished speaking, his expression suddenly changed, and he grimaced in pain as he spoke. This reserve team for the Extreme Guild Club's S tournament is amazing. Other teams would treat a healing-type spirit chi professional like a boss, but they actually picked one. It's really infuriating to compare oneself with others. I've almost forgotten how it felt to be healed by a healing-type spirit chi professional last time. Lin Yuan watched as the burly man suddenly changed his expression. He was really domineering. Baidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 130. This uncle actually inadvertently came up with a unique skill. Who was the one who had just defended the Extreme Guild Club's four-man team, and said that they could not let this healing-type spirit chi professional join the team. When the burly man saw Lin Yuan's expression, he was not embarrassed. He touched his nose and laughed loudly. You should lick and be jealous. This is the quality that a professional fan should have. You're still too young. Lin Yuan felt that this uncle had a lot of unique skills, and it was a pity that he came out to take the risk. At that moment, the healing-type spirit chi professional, who had been rejected by the Extreme Guild Club's four-man team, quickly found another team, and was treated like a master. The Extreme Guild Club's four-man team also began to recruit healing-type spirit chi professionals again. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan strode forward. At that moment, the burly man next to Lin Yuan wanted to ask him to form a team if he really could not do it. The burly man thought that he would take it as him guiding the newcomer. At that moment, the burly man realized that Lin Yuan had already left. When he saw Lin Yuan walking toward the Extreme Guild Club's four-man team, his mouth could not help but open wide. Fuck. Heartless. This kid can't really be a healing-type spirit chi professional, right? Just now, Lin Yuan was very appreciative of the Extreme Guild Club's four-man team's approach. The most important thing in a team was mutual communication and respect. For example, the yellow-haired woman named Xian would listen to her teammates' opinions and also respect them. The other members also insisted on the team's bottom line in recruiting teammates. The other combat class spirit chi professionals needed to do their best to protect the healing-type spirit chi professional in the field. However, the premise of this protection was that the healing-type spirit chi professional could fully support the team's supply. It was not because the healing-type spirit chi professional could not fight that they should be protected. Therefore, the relationship between the team members was mutual. If the healing-type spirit chi professional could not complete the team's supply, the others naturally would not treat the healing-type spirit chi professional like a master. Field exploration was not child's play. If the healing-type spirit chi professional's supply could not keep up, it would cause the combat class spirit chi professional to have new injuries before they could recover. This would form a vicious cycle, and all the team members would eventually collapse. If the combat class spirit chi professional was compared to a kinetic machine, then the healing-type spirit chi professional would be someone who constantly repaired and refueled the machine. Therefore, when going into the wilderness, everyone would want to form a team with a qualified healing-type spirit chi professional who could replenish the team's supplies. The scarcity of healing-type spirit chi professionals wasn't the reason why they were so popular. The real reason was that healing-type spirit chi professionals couldn't be replaced. The 4 members of the Extreme Guild Club were already resting on the chairs in the mission area. Only Zhang Xiaobai was looking at the ceiling of the Guild Alliance's mission area and humming a song, as if he was thinking about life. It was not easy for a small team to find a suitable healing-type spirit chi professional. In fact, a normal team would have to wait for 1 or 2 days to find a suitable healing-type spirit chi professional. Even a team like the Extreme Guild Club's team of 4 would need to wait a few hours to find a suitable healing-type spirit chi professional. Therefore, the Extreme Guild Club's quartet did not think that another healing-type spirit chi professional who could not meet their team's requirements would come so soon. When Xiaoning saw Lin Yuan walking over, she spoke out of habit. "Sorry, we don't usually sign autographs outside of the tournament." Xiaoning was already used to Lin Yuan wearing a mask. There were many adventurers who wore masks. Many adventurers had injured their faces because of some dangerous missions. In order not to affect their teammates, they would wear a metal mask. Lin Yuan stood there, cleared his throat and spoke. "I'm a healing-type spirit chi professional. I've met your requirements and am applying to join the team." Xiaoning was a little surprised, and then looked at Lin Yuan seriously. She was surprised to find that the man in front of her had an indescribable temperament. In other words, if one did not look at his masked face, this temperament gave people the feeling that he was a sunny youth. Before Xiaoning could speak, she heard Zhang Xiaobai stand up with a wow sound. "I don't have to wait anymore. I hate waiting here for a healing-type spirit chi professional every time I do a mission. I want to sleep while waiting." Xiaoning rolled her eyes at Zhang Xiaobai and stood up. Tan Ran and Lu Pinru, who were resting at the side, also stood up. They looked at Lin Yuan and nodded slightly. Xiaoning said, "Our mission this time is to go to the depths of the endless forest and obtain the jade unicorn ice snake's venom. We have use for it, so we can't share it with you. However, the 5 of us will split the venom into 10 portions, and you can take 3 portions. We can convert the venom's price into radiance dollars and give it to you. See if you can accept it." Lin Yuan did not care about the jade unicorn ice snake's venom. The jade unicorn ice snake's venom was a precious spiritual ingredient that was extremely difficult to store and could easily deteriorate. Therefore, the fresher the jade unicorn ice snake's venom, the more precious it was. The jade unicorn ice snake's venom was a spiritual ingredient that could promote the evolution of poisonous phase. Lin Yuan had no use for it, so it would be better if he could exchange it for radiance dollars. Lin Yuan wanted to go to the endless forest mainly for the wild harvest, so he deliberately explained his purpose. "I will conduct wild harvesting when I encounter precious phase along the way. If there are no problems, I will join." Lin Yuan's indifferent words immediately caused the 4 people present to widen their eyes. Zhang Xiaobai was the first to speak. "Brother, are you also a creation master?" Generally speaking, those who wanted to conduct wild harvesting in the wild were all creation masters. This was because creation masters could kill phase in the wild to obtain spiritual ingredients, but they would not be able to harvest the fays in good condition. Wild fays were ferocious, although most of them would not take the initiative to attack humans. If humans wanted to capture wild fays to conduct wild harvesting, they would definitely be counterattacked by the wild fays. Therefore, only creation masters could make wild fays develop a favorable impression and obediently allow themselves to be harvested. Lin Yuan did not hide it. Since Zhang Xiaobai had asked, he nodded. The 5-member team headed into the depths of the endless forest. Even if they wanted to conduct wild harvesting, they could not hide it from the Extreme Guild Club's quartet. Perhaps he would need the help of the Extreme Guild Club's quartet in the future, so he openly admitted it. Upon seeing Lin Yuan nod, Xiaoning, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru's eyes lit up. Zhang Xiaobai was overjoyed and said with some exaggeration, "We have picked up a treasure this time. We picked up a treasure this time. I didn't expect to find a healing-type spirit chi professional, who is also a creation master. With a creation master on a field mission, this mission will be much smoother." Baidu quickly read the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 131. When adventuring in the wilderness, one would be most afraid of encountering some extremely dangerous situations. A combat-class spirit chi professional's fey might damage its roots. Healing-type spirit chi professionals wouldn't be able to do anything about injuries to the origin. Only creation masters would be able to treat it. Only a Class 2 creation master could fully heal a fey's damaged roots. But even a Class 1 creation master would be able to immediately take measures when the fey's roots were damaged. It would also reduce the damage to the fey's source, but it wouldn't reduce the fey's combat strength due to the damage to the source. He would be able to continue with the mission and return to the city to seek treatment from a Class 2 creation master. It wasn't a big deal for creation masters to gather in the wild, so there was naturally no reason to reject. Xiaoning nodded her head and said happily, "If that's the case, it won't be a problem. Since you are a creation master, you will be of greater help to the team. I will raise the 30% reward to 5%. But before that, I want to verify your healing standard." Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't reject Xiaoning's suggestion, as such a test was a responsibility to everyone in the team in a certain sense. At this moment, Zhang Xiaobai suddenly screamed, "Fuck! Heartless! Xiaoning, don't tell me you're going to experiment on me again." Xiaoning looked at Zhang Xiaobai, as though he was an idiot, and nodded her head. "If not you, who else?" Zhang Xiaobai looked around and stuck out his tongue in resignation. Among the 5 people here, only he was a defense-type spirit chi professional. Xiaoning and Tan Ran were power offense-type spirit chi professionals, while Lu Pinru was a support-type spirit chi professional. At the end of the day, he was the most suitable person to test Lin Yuan's healing ability. Tan Ran, who had not spoken much, suddenly took a step forward and said seriously, "I can try too. I'll replace Brother Zhang Xiaobai to test his healing ability." Zhang Xiaobai hurriedly walked to Xiaoning's side and said, "Brother Xiaobai, come and give it a try. Your body isn't good to begin with. What's there to try?" At this time, Zhang Xiaobai could already imagine the scene of Xiaoning beating him up. He couldn't help but grit his teeth and look at Xiaoning. "Be gentler." Xiaoning clenched her fist, and a kind of energy suddenly appeared on her fist. The moment the energy rose, her fist surged with a golden glow. Lin Yuan could sense that this energy was metal-type, and Xiaoning should have a metal-type fey. Xiaoning's current state was like attaching her contracted metal-type phase energy to her body. However, the ability of a contractor to use a fey like this was much weaker than summoning it. Xiaoning looked at her fist, and then at Zhang Xiaobai. She wanted to rummage through her backpack on the seat. "Should I bring my fists and punch you? That way, your injuries will be more severe, and I can better test my healing ability." Zhang Xiaobai covered his face and snorted, "What kind of hell am I living? Xiaoning, I'm telling you, you won't be able to get married in the future." Xiaoning raised her fist and smashed it towards Zhang Xiaobai's chest. When it smashed over, Lin Yuan could clearly feel that Xiaoning had held back her strength. The fist smashed into Zhang Xiaobai's chest, sending him flying 3 meters away. Zhang Xiaobai struggled for a while before getting up from the ground. He clutched his chest, his face pale. Zhang Xiaobai was about to take a deep breath when he heard Xiaoning say, "I won't not be able to get married. If I can't get married, I'll look for you in the future. I hit you, so you have to be responsible for me." Zhang Xiaobai was taking a deep breath and choked. He clutched his chest and coughed. After coughing for a long time, Zhang Xiaobai said, "My throat is very sweet. It seems that my internal organs are bleeding." Then, Zhang Xiaobai looked at Lin Yuan. "Brother, it's up to you. If you can't cure me, I'll have suffered the beating for nothing." Lin Yuan raised his hand, and a beam of comfortable emerald green luster enveloped Zhang Xiaobai's body. This emerald green light only wandered around Zhang Xiaobai's body once before Lin Yuan stopped and withdrew his hand. Zhang Xiaobai felt his body's condition and patted his chest, which he was afraid of being hit. "I'm completely healed. Brother, you're good. This healing ability has reached the silver level." In fact, when Xiaoning had made her move just now, she had deliberately controlled her strength to the limit that a silver could heal. Zhang Xiaobai felt his body's condition and confirmed that Lin Yuan's casual healing ability had reached the mid-silver standard. Lin Yuan's strength made Zhang Xiaobai very happy. His casual healing was already at the mid-stage of silver. If he summoned a fae, its healing ability would be at least at the pinnacle of silver. When such a powerful healing-type spirit chi professional was adventuring in the wilderness, the entire team would definitely be at ease. After a round of tests, Lin Yuan was considered to have joined the team. Zhang Xiaobai smacked his lips and said, "Now that the team has been formed, let's go invite the healer to a meal and get to know each other better. After lunch, we'll set off for the endless forest." When he arrived at the dining area, Zhang Xiaobai used his star web card to connect to the restaurant's private room's broadcast. Then, after fiddling with it for a long time, he finally found a channel and told everyone about it, as if he was presenting a treasure. "Listen, this channel is very interesting." Soon, he heard the content of the channel that Zhang Xiaobai had found on the radio. On the night of September 4th, the unemployed Mr. Wang invited his online friend Mr. Zhou to his rented apartment for a drink. During this period, I lamented that there were too many rich people. I immediately suggested that we should go out and make some money, and I immediately agreed. The surveillance cameras on Jianghe Road showed that at 5:16 a.m. on September 5th, their breakfast stall was set up. Zhang Xiaobai, ha ha ha. At 5:26 a.m., a black van stopped in front of the stall, and a few strong guys got off. They walked straight to me and ordered 4 bowls of egg noodles and youtiao. Zhang Xiaobai, ha ha ha. At 5:28 a.m., I pulled out a sharp kitchen knife from under the breakfast stall and cut the green onions while the guys were chatting. Zhang Xiaobai, ha ha ha. After Zhang Xiaobai finished laughing, he realized that no one was laughing and was looking at him instead. He could not help but grin and ask carefully, "Isn't it funny?" Xiaoning felt that her fist was itching again, and she needed Zhang Xiaobai to stop the itch. Ever since Lu Pinru arrived at the private room, she had asked the service staff for a basin of water and had been carefully wiping her wardrobe. She calmly glanced at Zhang Xiaobai and sighed helplessly. "Zhang Xiaobai, when will you turn over a new leaf?" Zhang Xiaobai felt that he had been greatly insulted. "I've been an A since I was young. How can I turn over a new leaf?" Then, Zhang Xiaobai looked at Tan Ran, who had not spoken much. Tan Ran looked at Zhang Xiaobai's encouraging gaze, gritted his teeth, clapped his hands, and said with a chuckle, "It's so funny. Big brother Zhang Xiaobai is so great." Baidu read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 132. Lin Yuan looked at their interactions and found that they had a really good relationship. On the way here, Lin Yuan still remembered Lu Pinru whispering to him, "Xiaoning and Zhang Xiaobai are actually a couple." This truly shocked Lin Yuan. No matter how he looked at it, it didn't look like they were in love. Other people's partners were all abusing dogs everywhere. Xiaoning and Zhang Xiaobai's partner was Xiaoning, abusing Zhang Xiaobai everywhere. Soon, the food was served, and Lin Yuan simply took off his mask. He couldn't eat without taking off his mask. After Lin Yuan took off his mask, Genius quickly removed its tool transformation state and turned into a two-tailed white cat spirit beast. Genius nestled in Lin Yuan's arms and meowed twice before saying in a childish voice, "Lin Yuan, I want to eat with you." Genius's childish voice sounded a little aggrieved. When Lin Yuan heard Genius's aggrieved childish voice, he knew that Genius was throwing a tantrum. When Lin Yuan heard Genius's aggrieved childish voice, he knew that Genius was throwing a tantrum. Ever since Lin Yuan had enhanced Chimey, Genius, Blackie, and the blue flash purple butterfly to the legend quality, he had been enhancing the Jasmine Lily. He had evolved the fantasy breed Jasmine Lily from Bronze X to Silver. It could be said that he had been really busy for the past 2 months, and he had even squeezed out his sleeping time. Genius had been observing Lin Yuan's hard work during this period. Therefore, Genius didn't pester Lin Yuan and quietly accompanied him. While Lin Yuan was enhancing the Fae, Genius was quietly squatting beside Lin Yuan and wagging its 2 small tails. Genius, which required Lin Yuan to play with it every day, had been feeling very aggrieved during this period. Just as Lin Yuan was about to give Genius a small bowl and pick some food, Genius quickly used its small claws to gently push Lin Yuan's face and continued speaking in a childish voice. "No, Genius needs Lin Yuan to feed it personally. Genius will only be able to eat if Lin Yuan feeds it personally." Lin Yuan couldn't help but smile. Every time Genius acted coquettishly, Lin Yuan couldn't do anything about it and could only raise his hands in surrender. Lin Yuan picked up his chopsticks and was about to give Genius a piece of red braised meat when he noticed that the Extreme Guild Club's quartet was looking at him. In fact, when Lin Yuan took off his mask, the Extreme Guild Club's quartet subconsciously looked at him. In the Guild Alliance, the Extreme Guild Club's quartet did not feel anything when Lin Yuan wore a mask. Now that they had become teammates for this trip, they were naturally curious about what was behind Lin Yuan's mask. The moment Lin Yuan took off his mask, he gave the Extreme Guild Club's quartet the impression of a sunny and clean youth. However, when Lin Yuan saw Genius' lips suddenly curl up, he was truly amazed by the Extreme Guild Club's quartet. Lin Yuan could not help but laugh when he saw the 4 members of the Extreme Guild Club staring at him stupidly. "Why can't you recognize me after I take off my mask?" Zhang Xiaobai let out a few strange cries and carefully looked at Lin Yuan, then at Tan Ran. Finally, he looked at the plate on the table and at himself from the reflection of the plate. He said very seriously, "All right, I admit that Lin Yuan is the most handsome, but I can rank second and Tan Ran is third." Lu Pinru rolled her eyes mercilessly. Sure enough, once Zhang Xiaobai became serious, what he said would definitely not be serious. Xiaoning felt her fist itch even more. She picked up a bun and stuffed it into Zhang Xiaobai's mouth. "Hurry up and eat a bun. Let me see if this bun can block your mouth." The Extreme Guild Club's 4-man squad was only amazed by Lin Yuan's appearance, but what really surprised them was Lin Yuan's age. Previously, Xiaoning felt that Lin Yuan had a youthful aura, but she did not expect him to actually be a young youth. Tan Ran might have a baby face and looked very young, but Tan Ran was already 22 years old, while Lin Yuan was a true youth. At this age, he could release a silver healing ability without summoning a Fae. At the same time, he was also a creation master, which showed how powerful his talent was. Since the start of the meal, Tan Ran had been looking at Genius with his head tilted. Genius was holding the meat that Lin Yuan fed it with its small claws and eating happily. When Genius saw that Tan Ran had been looking at it, it quickly ate the meat in its hands and licked its small claws. After looking at Tan Ran a few times, Genius felt that it was still the cutest, so it pounced into Lin Yuan's arms and acted like a spoiled child. Tan Ran looked at Lin Yuan with envy and said faintly, "Cats are the cutest. Cats are the cutest, but why is my Fey affinity not fated with cuteness?" When Zhang Xiaobai heard Tan Ran's words, he nearly choked on the steamed bun in his mouth. When he thought of Tan Ran's affinity, he quickly shook his head. This affinity was not just fated with cuteness. The meal was quickly finished, and the idle chatter at the dining table had shortened the distance between them, allowing Lin Yuan and the quartet to get familiar with each other. They were all young and like-minded. They might not be bosom friends, but they easily became friends. The endless forest stretched from the extreme north to the bitter cold land, and the muddy swamp to the south. It had a very vast area. Large areas of the forest were connected together, forming a paradise for wild fays. The endless forest was connected to 13 major cities of the Radiance Federation. The 13 major cities of the Radiance Federation were all connected to the endless forest. At that moment, Lin Yuan and the quartet were heading to Ascending Dragon City, which was the closest to the royal capital. Millstone Town, which was at the border of Ascending Dragon City, was the closest to the Jade Unicorn Ice Snake's habitat. Therefore, Millstone Town was the most suitable place to set off. Millstone Town might be a town that belonged to Ascending Dragon City's sphere of influence. However, when they arrived at Millstone Town, Lin Yuan realized that it wasn't even one-third the size of the Xia region that he had previously lived in. Furthermore, Millstone Town was really far from the other counties of Ascending Dragon City. Even a bronze avian fae would need to fly for a long time. The reason for such a situation was ultimately due to the formation of Millstone Town. At first, Millstone Town was just adjacent to the endless forest. So many merchants had come to Millstone Town to do some supply trading. Slowly, it had formed a stable gathering place. After decades of development, many adventurers had settled down here, and Millstone Town had slowly formed. This Millstone Town was an adventurer's town at the edge of Ascending Dragon City that was embedded in the endless forest. Lin Yuan stood on the streets of Millstone Town and looked at the surrounding Millstone Town that was a little unreal due to the dark sky. When he heard the hawking and chatting with many adventurers, he couldn't help but sigh. Truly, the mountains and rivers are vast and the mortal world is full of smoke and fire. Lin Yuan and the quartet walked on the streets of Millstone Town and were preparing to buy some supplies. However, the people in Millstone Town, including Lin Yuan, didn't notice this tranquility. There was a faint crack in the sky, and there was a hidden dark red wave behind the crack. Baidu was the first to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 133. It was much darker in autumn than in the morning in summer. Ascending Dragon City wasn't like Redbud City. Redbud City's climate was gloomy and rainy all year round. Even in autumn, it was still stuffy and hot. However, in Redbud City's autumn, the cool breeze was very comfortable, but people with weaker physiques would also feel chills after being exposed to the cool breeze for a long time. Especially at night, when Ascending Dragon City's Millstone Town's night breeze blew on the body, people would involuntarily want to wear more clothes. Millstone Town streets were also lit up with lanterns. In front of the brightly lit stalls, Millstone Town's night seemed to be livelier than during the day. It was not affected by the late autumn chill at all. All sorts of snack stalls and fruit stalls were set up on the streets and were flourishing. One could smell the bursts of barbecued skewers as they walked past. Among all kinds of snacks, the aroma of barbecued skewers was the best at drawing out the gluttonous worms in one's stomach. The fresh and sweet aroma of various fruits would also make one's mood much better. Xianing looked at the sky and said, "We will stay in Millstone Town tonight. We will stay in Millstone Town tonight. Pinru and I will prepare the necessities needed for this mission. Tan Ran will book a guest house." Xianing looked at Zhang Xiaobai and frowned slightly. "Zhang Xiaobai, you buy it." "Forget it, Zhang Xiaobai. You are free to do whatever you want." Xianing then looked at Lin Yuan and said, "Lin Yuan, you can also stroll around." "Lin Yuan, just stroll around. We'll gather here in an hour and go to the guest house that Tan Ran found for the night. We'll set off tomorrow morning." It was obvious that this was not Xianying's first time in Millstone Town. She clearly knew Millstone Town very well and determined their itinerary with a few words. Zhang Xiaobai was rather happy when he heard that he did not have to do anything, but he quickly reacted. "I was the one who prepared the necessities last time. Why don't you need me this time? Xianying, are you despising me?" Zhang Xiaobai looked at Xianying's righteous expression and was immediately punched by Xianying. Lu Pinru rolled her eyes. Zhang Xiaobai, what did you buy when I asked you to prepare the necessities last time? You bought 50 roast chickens and came back carrying them. You nearly angered Big Sister Ing to death. This time, you better go and eat some barbecue. Just don't be a hindrance. Zhang Xiaobai clutched his stomach. On the one hand, he was in pain from Xian Ying's beating, and on the other hand, he felt wronged by Lu Pinru's words. However, when he heard that he could eat barbecue, he immediately burst out laughing. Zhang Xiaobai hurriedly shouted when he saw Xian Ying getting restless again. I'm not being naughty this time. Lin Yuan and the Extreme Guild Club's quartet split up. Just as Lin Yuan was about to casually look around the stalls, he saw Zhang Xiaobai pulling him and speaking mysteriously. Lin Yuan, do you want to eat barbecue with me? This place's barbecue is really delicious. After saying that, Zhang Xiaobai pointed behind him. Lin Yuan was not hungry yet. He looked at the barbecue stall, and then at the fruit stall next to him. I'm not hungry. You go ahead and eat. I'll buy some fruits here. Zhang Xiaobai patted Lin Yuan on the shoulder. Then wait for me for 10 minutes. I'll come to you after I buy the barbecue. After saying that, Zhang Xiaobai ran a few steps and came to the barbecue stall. He stretched his neck and shouted, Boss, give me 30 skewers of kidney. I want it to be super unrivaled spicy. Lin Yuan's supplies had actually been prepared long ago. A very important part of going out on an adventure was the preparation of supplies. Since Lin Yuan had decided to go out on an adventure, everything was naturally prepared. Previously, the Moon Empress had given Lin Yuan 2 diamond face storage boxes. The leaf-shaped face storage box contained the flesh of various dimensional life forms, so Lin Yuan did not touch it. As for Chen Zhao's dark brown beetle-shaped face storage box, Lin Yuan tidied up the radiance dollars in the box and emptied a corner of the face storage box. He stored a lot of water and some food that was convenient for hunger. When adventuring in the wild and lacking food, there was still a way to solve it. In fact, killing a wild fae could even drill wood to start a fire for a simple barbecue. However, it was difficult to persist in the wild without water. Some experienced adventurers knew that water in the wild could not be casually drunk unless it was a large body of water with living fish or mountain spring water. Drinking water indiscriminately might cause diarrhea, fever, poisoning, and other conditions. Such a situation might be even more fatal than being attacked by a fae. Lin Yuan took 2 steps forward and walked to the stall beside him. Seeing that the fruits in front of him were very fresh, he thought it would be good to store some in the diamond face storage box. As Lin Yuan was picking fruits, he heard a middle-aged woman's voice. Good baby, quickly choose a sugar figurine. Let this old grandpa knead it for you. Lin Yuan looked at the stall at the side. It was a stall that sold candy, and one could knead sugar figurines. The little boy, who was being carried by the middle-aged woman, said timidly to the old man kneading the sugar figurine. Old grandpa, I want a sweet sugar figurine. Can you knead an elite fat yellow duck for me? The old man selling the sugar figurine said with a benevolent smile. Old grandpa needs a fat yellow duck the most. Grandpa likes to pinch fat yellow ducks. Grandpa will be done for you soon. The old man skillfully picked up a lump of maltose candy, and after a short while, a cute fat yellow duck was formed. Then he picked up a brush and dipped it in the sugar color. After a few strokes, a lifelike fat yellow duck appeared in the old man's hands. The little boy excitedly took the yellow duck and smiled happily. His eyes seemed to have stars in them. The middle-aged woman carried the little boy and was about to leave. The little boy in her arms said innocently, Mommy, Mommy, the baby wants it. The middle-aged woman pinched the little boy's face helplessly, then pointed at the fat yellow duck in the little boy's hand. I just bought a candy man and haven't eaten it yet. Why do you still want more? The little boy was very persistent. He turned his small eyes and immediately kissed the middle-aged woman on the cheek. The middle-aged woman immediately smiled after being kissed by her child. She immediately paid the money and nodded in agreement. It was very simple. In just 1 or 2 minutes, the old man had made a big ball, which looked like a white quilt. The little boy held it in one hand and said to the fat yellow duck in the other, Ducky, with the quilt, you won't feel cold at night. The child's words carried a hint of innocence, This fat yellow duck probably wouldn't feel cold, even if it was winter with a quilt. Lin Yuan placed the fruits he bought into the dark brown beetle-shaped face storage box. The sky was like a shattered mirror, and the shattered night seeped out with a dark red luster. The dark red ripples with distorted energy tore open a huge hole in the night. Soon enough, a dark red crack that emitted strange energy formed in the sky. The instant this strange energy crack formed, a large number of alien insects frantically surged out from it. Baidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 134. When Lin Yuan saw this strange energy rift, his mind suddenly exploded. He had seen this strange energy rift when he had been in the Xia region. Wasn't this strange energy rift a dimensional rift? The alien insects frantically poured out of the dimensional rift that had just opened. All sorts of alien insects fell from the dimensional rift in the sky and smashed into smithereens. However, layers of alien insect corpses were laid down, and the newly fallen alien insects would not suffer any casualties when they fell on this thick layer of insect corpses. Soon, the sea of alien insects quietly gathered under the dimensional rift that had suddenly opened in the night sky. All kinds of alien insects cried out in unison, letting out ear-piercing insect cries. Immediately after, these alien insects gorged on the flesh and blood of their companions that had served as their cushions, as if they were waiting for something to descend. This dimensional rift had suddenly opened at the edge of the endless deep forest, and the place where the sea of insects had gathered was only 2 to 3 kilometers away from Millstone Town. It was almost as if this dimensional rift had opened at the entrance of Millstone Town. This dimensional rift that had suddenly opened under the starry sky in the dark night revealed its ferocious claws and teeth. It was like a devil that had chosen people to devour. Millstone Town immediately panicked under this unforeseen event. At that moment, Zhang Xiaobai ran over. Zhang Xiaobai was still holding 30 kidney skewers in his hand. He could not carry 30 kidney skewers with one hand, so he took 2 hands. 15 in each hand was just right. It was unknown whether it was because Zhang Xiaobai had eaten Millstone Town's kidney skewers, or because 30 kidney skewers were just enough to satisfy Zhang Xiaobai's appetite. Zhang Xiaobai ran in front of Lin Yuan with a very solemn expression. He glanced at the kidney in his hand, and then threw it on the ground. Lin Yuan, let's go to the meeting place now. Such a big thing happened, and they should have rushed over immediately. Zhang Xiaobai had a rare solemn expression. He looked at Lin Yuan with some hesitation. But in the end, he did not say anything and just reached out to pat Lin Yuan's shoulder. Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai ran toward the meeting place with Xianing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran. After arriving, he found that Xianing and Lu Pinru were already standing there with ugly and anxious expressions. Xianing shouted when she saw Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai. Judging from the chaotic insect cries, this dimensional rift is connected to an alien insect dimensional rift. I wonder if it is a Class 1 alien insect dimensional rift, or a Pinnacle Class 1-1. Lin Yuan had also done plenty of homework in this aspect. If the alien insect dimensional rift was at Class 2, just the chirping of the alien insects at such a close distance would probably make people dizzy. Therefore, this alien insect dimensional rift could only be a Class 1 dimensional rift. However, there was a huge difference between an ordinary Class 1 alien insect dimensional rift and a Pinnacle Class 1 dimensional rift. At this time Tan ran over panting. The 5-member squad had officially assembled, and Xianing had regained her composure. She looked at Lin Yuan and spoke calmly. Everything happened too suddenly, and the dimensional rift appeared in Millstone Town. Therefore, our mission to search for the jade unicorn ice snake venom in the endless forest has been suspended. You can go to the Royal Capital's Guild Alliance to collect our deposit as compensation for our abrupt suspension of the mission. Zhang Xiaobai's face was flushed. He wanted to say something, but he looked at Lin Yuan and then at Xianing. Even if his face was flushed, he could not say what he wanted to say. Lu Pinru and Tan Ran looked calm, but their gazes at Lin Yuan seemed to be faintly anticipating something. At the same time, Lu Pinru had removed the 2-person wardrobe that she had been carrying on her back. Tan Ran also opened his backpack, took out a forehead protector, and put it on his head. He pinned his naturally curly hair to the back of his head, revealing his forehead. It was obvious that Lu Pinru and Tan Ran were ready for battle at this time. Lin Yuan could also see the plan of the quartet. They were going to stay in Millstone Town to help it resist the invasion of the insect tide. At this moment, Lin Yuan could not help but think of the little boy who had just bought the fat yellow duck candy figurine. He also thought of Chu Ci, who had always clamored to eat candy figurines that looked like elite blackback mountain boars when she was young. When she ate the candy figurine that looked like an elite blackback mountain boars, it seemed that she could taste the pork. It was a distant memory that could not be seen clearly, but it now firmly appeared in front of him. What was happiness? Food was happiness when one was hungry, and it was enough to fill one's stomach. Water was happiness when one was thirsty, and it was enough to drink. Money was happiness when one was poor, and it was enough to use. Happiness might be something when one was young, and one would feel happy when one had it. Happiness might be a goal when one grew up, and one would feel happy when one achieved it. A few months ago, Lin Yuan, who was struggling on the line of happiness, had neither health nor enough food and clothing. But now, even his life goal had been set higher than others. In Lin Yuan's opinion, rather than saying that he had been reborn and unlocked Morbius, and his ability to circulate spirit chi to enhance phase, it was better to say that he had been born in the Radiance Federation. It was better to say that he had been born in the Radiance Federation. Although Lin Yuan had not been willing to accept help from others since he was young, he had unknowingly accepted too many favors. Auntie Zhang and Uncle Wang, who often took care of his daily life and worried about whether he could eat well. Teacher Bao, who wanted to buy phase for Chu Ci when she did not have a contracted fei. And the Moon Empress, a dutiful teacher. Looking at the fighting spirit in the eyes of the quartet, Lin Yuan seemed to suddenly understand the meaning of radiance. Radiance was an inheritance, a mission, and a kind of belief. Lin Yuan looked at the quartet and raised his brows. Do you think only the four of you want to stay? In my opinion, our temporary team can't be disbanded, at least not before we get through this insect tide. Xian Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran's eyes lit up when they looked at Lin Yuan. If they had been a little friendly to Lin Yuan before, it was because they had formed a temporary team. Now they were looking at Lin Yuan with approval in their eyes. This approval had nothing to do with strength, but a kind of recognition at the soul level. Zhang Xiaobai had wanted to say something but could not. His flushed face suddenly turned into a brilliant color. He laughed heartily and punched Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan, you are worthy of being my good brother. Lin Yuan almost took a step back when Zhang Xiaobai's punch landed on his shoulder. Zhang Xiaobai was indeed a boorish man who ate 30 kidney skewers for a meal. He was indeed boorish. Lin Yuan also turned around and punched Zhang Xiaobai's shoulder. I'll focus on healing you in the battle later. Zhang Xiaobai took a step back from Lin Yuan's punch and laughed heartily. This punch is powerful enough. Awesome. Zhang Xiaobai and Lin Yuan were not people who were good at venting their feelings. Sometimes, a punch from each other was the interpretation of a man's friendship. Lin Yuan looked at the dimensional rift and said solemnly, just the few of us can't stop this insect tide. Let's follow the crowd and run towards the place where the adventurers of Millstone Town are gathered. Xianing said quickly, there's a Guild Alliance branch in Millstone Town. The flow of people is heading there. Let's go to the Millstone Town Guild Alliance branch. Lin Yuan and the Extreme Guild Club's quartet were running toward the Guild Alliance branch in Millstone Town. A strange but very pleasant female voice sounded in Lin Yuan's ears. It belonged to the mother of Bloodbath, which had been silent. Vaidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 135. The mother of Bloodbath's voice suddenly rang in Lin Yuan's ears, which made him feel much more at ease. Kid, as your path protector, I will only care about your life and death. I won't care about others. However, since you have the heart to resist the insect tide under this dimensional rift, your courage is commendable. The mother of Bloodbath suddenly went silent for 2 seconds, and a strange female voice sounded again. It's just that this pinnacle class 1-dimensional rift isn't a joke for you now. If you can get through it and defend the insect tide, I'll take out the source type item in this pinnacle class 1-dimensional rift as your reward. Lin Yuan frowned when he heard the mother of Bloodbath's words. Although he knew that this alien insect dimensional rift was class 1, he wasn't sure if it was an ordinary or pinnacle class 1. Now that the mother of Bloodbath said that this was a class 1-dimensional rift, its grade could be considered confirmed. Lin Yuan's heart tightened. Class 3 alien insects would appear in a pinnacle class 1-dimensional rift as the leader of the insect swarm. Class 3 alien insects' combat power was comparable to a gold fae, which meant that there would be at least one class 3 alien insect in Millstone Town's insect tide that had the same combat power as a gold fae. This was a huge piece of bad news for Lin Yuan's 5-member squad in Millstone Town. The alien insect dimensional rift was known as the most dangerous dimensional rift due to the innumerable alien insects that gushed out of it like a torrential tide. Everywhere the sea of insects passed through was barren. The sea of insects could exhaust spirit chi professionals and phase to death in battle. However, a pinnacle class 1 alien insect dimensional rift was not as simple as a sea of insects to Millstone Town. The class 3 alien insects in the pinnacle class 1-dimensional rift were equivalent to a sharp knife to Millstone Town. Lin Yuan asked the mother of Bloodbath softly, "Mother of Bloodbath, if we can't stop this insect tide, can you defend Millstone Town?" The mother of Bloodbath's voice sounded again. "I'm an arachnid fae, not a human. I'm just your path protector, and will only save you before you die in the sea of insects." After speaking, the mother of Bloodbath did not speak again. Lin Yuan's previous soft question was buried in the cold night by the autumn wind that whistled past his cheeks. Lin Yuan was not thinking about the mother of Bloodbath's so-called source-type life-form reward. Instead, he clenched his fist and measured his strength. This battle would be the Jasmine Lily's touchstone after it evolved into a fantasy breed. The alien insects that spewed out from the pinnacle class 1 alien insect dimensional rift were still comparable to normal phase. Some were low-grade alien insects that could not even reach normal grade. Such alien insects accounted for more than 80% of the insect tide. The remaining 19% were alien insects that were equivalent to elite phase. Only the alien insects that occupied less than 1,000th of the insect sea were ranked alien insects. Among them, level 1 alien insects that were equivalent to bronze rank occupied most of the 1,000th. Although 1,000th did not seem like much, it was a terrifying number when compared to the sea of alien insects. Lin Yuan could not help but think of his evolution. However, when Red Thorn evolved to bronze grade, it had to grow new tissues and organs because of its exclusive skill. After Red Thorn consumed a large amount of dimensional lifeform's flesh, it fell into a deep slumber, accumulating energy to grow the organ that allowed its combat system to be rebuilt. After eating a large amount of dimensional lifeform's flesh, it had fallen into a deep sleep, accumulating for the growth of this organ that could rebuild its combat system. If Red Thorn were to awaken, its newly awakened exclusive skill would simply be a killing weapon to the alien insects. When Lin Yuan and the quartet ran to the Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch, they found that many spirit chi professionals had already gathered there. When Lin Yuan and the quartet from the Extreme Guild Club arrived at the Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch, they found that many spirit chi professionals had already gathered there. There were also some adventurer teams that came from other places to explore Millstone Town and chose to stay in Millstone Town. There were also some adventurer teams that had come to Millstone Town from other places and had chosen to stay in Millstone Town. At that moment, a man in chain armor who looked like a manager was shouting. As he spoke, beads of sweat appeared on the forehead of the chain-armored man who had shouted. He seemed abnormally serious. While speaking, the man's forehead was covered in sweat, and he looked abnormally serious. Soon an old man walked forward. "President, there are a total of 1,325 registered spirit chi professionals in Millstone Town. Apart from 215 who are out, the remaining 1,110 spirit chi professionals are all present." As the elder spoke, He looked at the combat class spirit chi professionals gathered at the side. Most of them were settled in Millstone Town. As Millstone Town's guardian during this time of crisis, the elder might be old to the point that it was a little strenuous for him to fight. However, when he saw all the combat class spirit chi professionals in Millstone Town gathered to resist the calamity of Millstone Town, he actually felt a sense of pride and uplifting strength. At this critical juncture, a sense of pride and uplifting strength was born in his heart. This cohesiveness was unique to Millstone Town. If every spirit chi professional was a small spark, then when 1,000 people gathered together, it was already a rather strong bonfire. The man in chain armor, who looked like a manager, was the president of Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch. At that moment, his anxious face had a trace of pride, but he immediately revealed a bitter smile. As the president of Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch, how could he not know the depth of Millstone Town? Most of the 1,000 combat class spirit chi professionals only had bronze phase, and there were only a few dozen with silver phase. He was the only one with a gold phase. Such combat strength was already considered high in a small town like Millstone Town, compared to other small towns of similar sizes. However, it was obviously not enough to face this Class 1 alien insect dimensional rift and the impending insect tide. At that moment, a voice that was much deeper than the elder's voice shouted, "We are foreign spirit chi professionals who came to Millstone Town to resupply and prepare to explore the endless forest. According to my calculations, there are 113 foreign spirit chi professionals present. 87 of them have bronze phase, 25 of them have silver phase, and I have a gold phase." The middle-aged man's words made the president of the Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch relax a little. However, the middle-aged man's words made the Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch president's expression turn even uglier. Among the 113 of us, there is only one healing-type spirit chi professional who has a bronze phase, spitting turtle dove. I wonder how many healing-type spirit chi professionals there are in Millstone Town. Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch president had a gloomy expression. Healing-type spirit chi professionals were too precious and were popular everywhere. Therefore, very few healing-type spirit chi professionals stayed in a small place like Millstone Town to develop. Among the over 1,000 people, there were only 5 healing-type spirit chi professionals in Millstone Town. These 5 healing-type spirit chi professionals were usually responsible for healing the thousands of people in Millstone Town. However, among the 5 healing-type spirit chi professionals, only 4 of them had bronze phase. The last healing-type spirit chi professional only had an elite phase. When Lin Yuan heard about the spitting turtle dove, he subconsciously looked at the crowd. He actually found the healing-type spirit chi professional, who had applied to join the Extreme Guild Club's 4-member squad, and had been rejected. Lin Yuan knew that the spitting turtle dove was relatively rare compared to other healing-type phase, and its abilities were disgusting, so few people used it. Sure enough, people met everywhere in life. Just as the Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch president was worried, a magnetic and pleasant male voice rang out. To prevent the world from being destroyed, to protect the world's peace, to carry out love and truth. Before he could finish speaking, a valiant and heroic-looking woman with a head full of blonde hair raised her hand and punched the tall and thin young man who was speaking. "Zhang Xiaobai, don't talk at this time." Xiaoning took 2 steps forward and said calmly and firmly, "Team of 5. 2 power offense-type spirit chi professionals, 1 defense-type spirit chi professional, 1 support-type spirit chi professional, and 1 healing-type spirit chi professional. Please join us." Baidu browsed through the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse and read it for free. Chapter 136. Xan Ying's words made the middle-aged man who had spoken earlier and the Millstone Town Guild Alliance branch president feel relieved. They hurriedly nodded at Lin Yuan and the other 4. At that moment, a few exclamations suddenly came. "Wow! Aren't they the 4 members of the Guild Alliance's tournament reserve team? They actually appeared here. It's great that they're here." At this time, the Extreme Guild Club's team, Joining is really a powerful reinforcement. Then, there was a roar that suppressed the previous voices. Idols, you've come to Millstone Town too. We're really faded. The one who spoke was the healing-type spirit chi professional with the spitting turtle dove, who was currently running over. The S tournament team, even if it was just a reserve team, would be quite famous wherever they went. The current situation was that some spirit chi professionals had recognized Xiaoning, Zhang Xiaobai, and the others. In addition to proving that the S tournament team was the younger generation with extremely high potential, it could also prove that they had powerful strength. The appearance of the 5 people, including Xiaoning, immediately excited the people present. Lin Yuan had been wearing the mask of genius among the Extreme Guild Club's quartet, so he seemed to have become a background. Lin Yuan looked at the excited crowd and said to the Extreme Guild Club's quartet, "Report your strength and inspire them. Tell them about your strength and inspire them." Morale was obviously the most important for the insect tide invasion, especially when they were going through a defensive battle. Although Lin Yuan had never read any books on the art of war in this life, he knew the importance of morale in a battle from what he had heard and seen in his previous life. The Extreme Guild Club's team immediately understood Lin Yuan's purpose. Xiaoning, a power offense-type spirit chi professional with a gold fei. Zhang Xiaobai, a defense-type spirit chi professional with a gold fei. Tan Ran, a power offense-type spirit chi professional with a gold fei. Lu Pinru, a support-type spirit chi professional with a silver fei. Black, a healing-type spirit chi professional with a silver fei. Previously, everyone was still paying attention to the Extreme Guild Club's quartet. However, when Lin Yuan revealed that he was a healing-type spirit chi professional with a silver fei, everyone's eyes were already focused on him. A silver healing-type spirit chi professional was an important strategic resource in a battle. With a healing-type spirit chi professional, with a silver fei standing behind him, it was the same as having a reliable guarantee on the battlefield. What could be more inspiring than this? Not only the people present, but the Extreme Guild Club's quartet also stared at Lin Yuan in a daze. Zhang Xiaobai almost blurted out, "Brother, aren't you Lin Yuan? Lin Yuan is rather fair and not dark, right?" He blinked at the Extreme Guild Club's quartet and pointed at the mask on his face. The Extreme Guild Club's members looked at the blinking eyes behind Lin Yuan's mask and quickly understood what he meant. At the thought of how Lin Yuan was already a creation master at such a young age, and a healing-type spirit chi professional with a silver healing-type fei, his identity must not be simple. Black might be Lin Yuan's identity in the outside world. However, Lin Yuan had used his real name to communicate with them, which made them feel his sincerity. At that moment, Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch president, as the representative of Millstone Town's spirit chi professionals, hurriedly took 2 steps forward. He led Lin Yuan and the Extreme Guild Club's quartet to the front of the group of spirit chi professionals and said, "Everyone is an elite of the younger generation. Thank you for staying in Millstone Town. You are a small team, and you will naturally cooperate with each other in battle. You are also the strongest combat power present, so it is better for you to command against the insect tide." The Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch president could be considered the person with the most weight present. Millstone Town's guardian was already a little old, and it was a little difficult for him to fight. Therefore, the arrangements for the battle still depended on the Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch president. The Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch president's approach was to delegate authority. It was impossible to have 2 commanding voices in a defensive battle, as it would only weaken the team's cohesion. On one hand, the Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch president delegated authority, so that there would only be one voice when commanding later. On the other hand, the pressure of resisting the insect tide was too great. The Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch president believed that his aptitude and brain power were really a little difficult to bear such pressure. Therefore, he might as well push this responsibility to the young generation's elites. He would be a pure combat class spirit chi professional and fight to his heart's content in the battle. Lin Yuan, Xiaoning, Zhang Xiaobai, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran looked at each other. Then, they nodded solemnly and Xianing took the lead to speak. Which of you has a small flying fae to observe the scale of this dimensional rift? Is it an ordinary Class 1 insect tide? If we can also investigate what kind of Class 3 alien insect is controlling this Class 1 insect tide, we can also make preparations in advance and effectively deal with it. Xianying's voice fell, and the people below conveyed the message. The feedback made Xianying's expression a little ugly. It was not that these people did not have flying faes, but they were either too large or did not have high intelligence. They were not enough to complete the investigation work and send back effective information. Xianing knew that her team of 4 did not have such a scouting flying fae. This was because scouting-type flying faes were generally equipped by support-type spirit chi professionals. However, Lu Pinru's situation was a little special, and she was not equipped with a scouting flying fae. This was not Xianying's first time experiencing an insect tide. She had also participated in the insect tide trial organized by the Extreme Guild Club. Because of this, when Xianing heard the insect cries outside the town that were more ear-piercing than ordinary Class 1 dimensional rift insect tides, she always felt a little uneasy. Upon seeing this situation, Lin Yuan used his spiritual energy to summon Chimey, which had been in the spirit lock spatial zone recently. Chimey was still a little dazed when Lin Yuan summoned it. It was about to stand on Lin Yuan's ear and get close to him, but when it saw his grave expression, it immediately became well-behaved. Chimey was originally live-streaming in the spirit lock spatial zone. The return of the sparrow-voiced lowly goddess, who had been away for a long time, surprised the fans. A massive number of fans flocked to the live-streaming room to witness the return of the sparrow-voiced lowly goddess. Lord Ranger, who had always been at the top of the leaderboard, even threw 100,000 radiance dollars. After live-streaming for a while, Chimey was encouraged by the fans to PK with other hosts. Chimey still could not figure out how to PK with other hosts. As a result, the arrival of the dimensional rift caused abnormal dimensional fluctuations, making it impossible to log in with the star web card. Chimey naturally stopped live streaming. At that moment, Chimey could not help but miss Genius. Without Genius as the admin and help with the operation, Chimey felt that it was already the most difficult thing to upload a GIF in front of the computer screen. Chimey thought that it would PK with other hosts the next time Genius was around, so it would spare their lives for now. At that time, it would let them know how powerful the sparrow-voiced lowly goddess was. When Lin Yuan summoned Chimey, the surrounding people looked over. Although Chimey was a bronze fae, its quality had reached legend, so its appearance was much better than most silver faes. In addition, Chimey was azure in color, and the obvious cloud patterns on its wings gave it a mysterious and elegant feeling. Coupled with Chimey's intelligent appearance, people immediately knew that this small flying fae had extraordinary intelligence. The Extreme Guild Club's quartet looked at Lin Yuan with a different expression. Lin Yuan had actually brought an unexpected surprise at such a moment. It was crucial to have a flying fae to investigate the insect tide situation, and their side was already at a disadvantage. If the weaker side could not seize the initiative, there would really be no chance to resist the insect tide's invasion. Lin Yuan ordered Chimey to fly outside Millstone Town to observe the insect tide's situation. If possible, he would also check the Class 3 alien insect species. Baiduan read the latest chapter of the Imperial Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 137. In fact, Chimey was not adept at such high-altitude reconnaissance. It did not recognize Class 3 alien insects and could not call out their names. However, as long as Chimey described the appearance of a Class 3 alien insect, most people would be able to call out its name. After all, understanding the various dimensional life forms in the dimensional rifts had long been a compulsory course for every Radiance Federation citizen. It was rare for Chimey to see Lin Yuan so serious, so it flew out of the Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch. It flew in the direction of the dark red dimensional rift in the dark of night. At this time, Lu Pinru had already placed the large wardrobe that was as tall as 2 people on the ground with a shake of her shoulder. Then she quickly circulated her spiritual power. As Lu Pinru circulated her spiritual power, the door of the two-person tall wardrobe suddenly opened. Only then did Lin Yuan know what Lu Pinru's contracted fei was, and why she had been carrying a two-person tall wardrobe on her back. There were densely packed silk racks in the wardrobe, and there were 3 light yellow silkworm babies that were about 3 inches long on the silk racks. As Lu Pinru circulated her spirit qi, the 3 silkworm babies quickly spat out silk and weaved spirit qi silk clothes on the silk racks. The woven silk clothes were not ordinary clothes, but were woven from energy. The 3 silkworm babies spat out silk very quickly, and in just a short while, a silk clothes made of energy were completed on the silk racks. Then Lu Pinru took down the silk clothes from the silk racks. At that moment, Lin Yuan used true data on the 3 silkworm babies that looked exactly the same. Fei name: Firefly weaving silkworm, Fei species. Silkworm species/cocoon species, Fei grade. Silver, 8 out of 10, Fei type. With spirituality quality. Flawless abilities: frowny face silk spray rapidly spit out a large number of messy silk threads to protect oneself. Light silk clothes. Spray energy silk threads to weave on the body to make the body light and faster. Strong armor silk clothes. Spray energy silk threads to form silk clothes that can effectively defend against physical damage. Exclusive skill: frowny face tough silk. Silk has strong toughness, which can greatly increase and reduce the wear and tear of silk products. Under true data, he was surprised to find that these 3 lustrous weaver silkworms not only had the same abilities, but they also had tough silk exclusive skills. It wasn't that the tough silk's exclusive skill was rare, or that the 3 lustrous weaver silkworms' abilities were outstanding. The real difficulty was that these 3 lustrous weaver silkworms had identical abilities and exclusive skills. Fei Evolution's exclusive skills were ever-changing. A single lustrous weaver silkworm might have thousands of exclusive skills, and the lustrous weaver silkworm's abilities weren't completely fixed when it evolved. These 3 lustrous weaver mulberry silkworms had the same exclusive skills in order to increase the weaving speed of the energy silk cloaks. Lu Pinru wasn't like other support class spirit qi professionals, who could use various control type abilities to weaken and restrict the target. As a support class spirit qi professional, Lu Pinru chose to sacrifice her personal combat ability and fully support her teammates. Zhang Xiaobai took the energy silk cloak that Lu Pinru had just woven and handed it to Lin Yuan. Black: wear this strong armor silk clothes first. It can help you resist some physical attacks. Pinru's clothes are very easy to wear. Lin Yuan didn't stand on ceremony. As a healing type spirit qi professional, it was the best choice to heal his teammates and not let them divert their energy to protect him. After wearing this strong armor silk clothes, Lin Yuan's body was surrounded by a layer of silk mixed with energy to form an elegant energy yarn shadow. Lu Pinru wasn't stingy with the spiritual power in her body, and soon, over a dozen strong armor silk clothes were made. After distributing them to the remaining healing type spirit qi professionals, the rest were distributed to the spirit qi professionals with gold feis. As these strong armor silk clothes were made, Lu Pinru's face became abnormally pale. Lu Pinru hurriedly took out some spiritual ingredients that could slowly recover spiritual power, and took 2 bites before saying, "Let me rest for 5 minutes. After that, I will continue to weave the strong armor silk clothes." Apart from healing type spirit qi professionals who would wear the strong armor silk clothes that Lu Pinru weaved, most of the other spirit qi professionals with gold feis would choose to let their feis wear the strong armor silk clothes. Since the strong armor silk clothes were mainly made of energy silk, they wouldn't be bound by a specific shape. Even a large-size fei would be able to pull the silk armor and wrap it around its body. Lin Yuan could see the obvious anticipation on the faces of the surrounding spirit qi professionals after witnessing Lu Pinru's ability. Lin Yuan could completely understand these spirit qi professionals' desire for the strong armor silk clothes. Although they were more or less prepared to die to protect Millstone Town, no one didn't want to have an additional layer of protection on the battlefield. However, there was no one who did not wish to have an additional layer of protection on the battlefield, even if this layer of protection was just an energy silk coat that would be damaged after a few attacks from Class 1 or Class 2 alien insects. Lin Yuan made a prompt decision and circulated his spiritual power to summon the bronze/legend spirit gather goldfish that Morbius had spirit lock. This was Lin Yuan's first time summoning Blackie to the outside world. Blackie was originally inviting the female 5 Fortune Ranchu to play in the spirit pool and leisurely eating the butterfly shells. Now that Lin Yuan had summoned it, it habitually swung its tail. When the spirit gather goldfish swung its tail twice, it swung its tail, which was half the length of its body, into a black peony. After swinging its tail, Blackie waited seriously for Lin Yuan's instructions. When Lin Yuan summoned Blackie, due to its exclusive skill, Spirit Gather Imprint, it didn't release any trace of spirit chi. However, the faint dragon aura already showed everyone that Blackie was a dragon species fae. Rather than saying that the Spirit Gather goldfish that had awakened its dragon species bloodline was actually a luxury that only the rich could have, Blackie used spirit injection on Lu Pinru and help her recover her spirit chi. When Lin Yuan ordered Blackie to use spirit injection, he completely forgot that his name was Blackie. Blackie immediately spat out pure spirit chi from its mouth and injected it into Lu Pinru's body. Although the Spirit Gather goldfish was only at bronze, it had awakened its dragon species bloodline, and its quality had been upgraded to the legend quality that others dreamed of. Therefore, the effect of spirit injection was extremely strong. While Lu Pinru had a surprised expression, Blackie quickly helped her recover her spiritual power. The Extreme Guild Club's quartet didn't expect Lin Yuan's pre-battle preparations to actually bring them another surprise. Spirit injection, which could recover spiritual power, was always hard to come by. This was because the other abilities of Fays with this ability were rather mediocre, and it wasn't a good choice for a contract. However, this ability had a crucial effect on the battlefield and in the tournament. Lu Pinru could feel the spiritual power in her body recovering rapidly. When Lu Pinru felt that the spirit chi in her body was almost recovered, she didn't hesitate and continued to produce the firm armor silk clothing without stopping. Compared to the silk clothing weaved by the lustrous weaver silkworm's other abilities, the firm armor silk clothing was undoubtedly more useful in this insect tide. Zhang Xiaobai took the silk clothing made by Lu Pinru and shouted, "Pinru's clothes can be worn by humans and beasts. Pinru's clothes can be worn by both humans and beasts. When wearing clothes, please choose Pinru's wardrobe." Zhang Xiaobai might be talking nonsense, but his eyes were surging with fighting spirit and determination. Xianing was also doing a pre-battle mobilization to increase everyone's morale. The healing-type spirit chi professional, who owned the spitting turtle dove, was pressing on its head and saying, "Drink some more water. If you don't have enough saliva later, you won't be able to eat your favorite gray beetles in the future." When the spitting turtle dove heard the gray beetles, which were originally unwilling to drink even if it was beaten to death, it burped and gulped down the third bucket of water. There were already 2 empty water buckets beside the spitting turtle dove. Lin Yuan's eyes focused. Chimey, which had flown out to scout, had already flown back. Lin Yuan could feel the panic in Chimey's heart when it was flying. Baiduan read the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 138. When Chimey flew in front of Lin Yuan, he immediately communicated with it. After some communication and sensing what Chimey was seeing, Lin Yuan's face behind the mask was terrifyingly gloomy. Lin Yuan had long known through the mother of Bloodbath that the alien insect dimensional rift outside Millstone Town was a pinnacle class 1 dimensional rift. However, through Chimey's image, he could feel the countless alien insects gathering under the dimensional rift. The densely packed alien insects were close to each other, and some were even stacked together. If Chimey had not experienced Cheng Wu's and Cheng Rui's previous attack, and experienced life and death, Chimey would probably explode upon seeing so many alien insects. Of course, this massive insect swarm was not the reason for Lin Yuan's gloomy expression. The main reason was that Chimey saw 3 Class 3 alien insects. Class 3 acid tapeworm, Class 3 spiky beetle, There was also a Class 3 alien insect that was halfway out of the dimensional rift. Among the 3 Level 3 alien insects, the acid tapeworm was like a green fluorescent light bulb under the night sky. It was exceptionally eye-catching. The acid tapeworm's skin was like a translucent and tough membrane that was filled with green and highly corrosive acid. When the acid tapeworm sprayed out this corrosive acid, as long as flesh came in contact with it, it would immediately carbonize. The other Class 3 alien insect, the spiky beetle, was simply like an iron-skinned tortoise with terrifying thick armor. Its huge body had the strength of a strange insect that could lift several times its own body weight. Under rapid collision, the spikes on the spiky beetle's body could even pierce through city walls. Of course, everyone present also had gold phase that could fight with Class 3 alien insects. So Lin Yuan was not very worried about these 2 Class 3 alien insects. The important thing was that the 3rd gold alien insect that Chimey saw was a slender black line coming out of the dimensional rift. This black line was the reason why Lin Yuan was frowning. The 3rd alien insect that revealed half of its body from the dimensional rift was the Class 3 alien insect's invisible killer, the heart-penetrating iron line. Normally, the heart-penetrating iron line would not expose its body and would hide in the bodies of other alien insects. From normal alien insects with no grades to Class 3 alien insects with grades, any alien insect could be the host of the heart-penetrating iron line. The heart-penetrating iron line controlled the host's movements while it seized the opportunity to suddenly appear. It would use its slender body like an iron wire to pierce the target's heart in front of it. It could be said to be an invisible assassin on the battlefield. With the Class 3 heart-penetrating iron line, every spirit chi professional had to be at least 120% focused. If the Class 3 alien insect found a gap and suddenly attacked and pierced the heart, there would be no cure. The heart was the blood power center. If the heart was shattered, the entire body's blood flow would stop, and the person would instantly lose their life. No matter how powerful a heal-type spirit chi professional was, they would not be able to save a person's heart. When everyone saw that Lin Yuan did not speak for a while after understanding the reconnaissance situation, the morale that had been boosted by examining couldn't help but be a little low again. Lin Yuan was of heart penetrating of and a of Ming Lin, red of. Even if a gold defense type Fei was pierced by the heart penetrating iron line, it would not be able to resist. Lin Yuan paused for a moment and said, "Acid tapeworm, spiky beetle." Then he said in a deep voice, "And the heart-penetrating iron line. There is also the heart-penetrating iron line. This time, the dimensional rift is a pinnacle class 1 dimensional rift." Since Lin Yuan had taken on the responsibility of scouting, he felt that he had to reveal the results of his scouting without concealing anything. This might affect morale, but having morale without preparation would not be able to win the battle. The opening of the alien insect dimensional rift this time was a fight to the death. There was a great disparity in strength between both sides, and if they could not even grasp the most accurate information, the final outcome would be the annihilation of the spirit chi professionals. The final outcome would be the complete annihilation of the spirit chi professionals. The non-spirit chi professionals in Millstone Town would become the alien insect's food, and Millstone Town would become the alien insect's flesh and blood paradise. Lin Yuan's words made everyone silent, and only the silly spitting turtle dove was still gulping down the 3rd bucket of water. It was so full that it could eat the gray beetles, and was unwilling to give up. All of a sudden, Zhang Xiaobai's off-key laughter echoed. Immediately after, Zhang Xiaobai clenched his fist and took a step forward. It doesn't matter if the alien insect dimensional rift is a normal class 1 or a pinnacle class 1. What we need to do is not to kill the insect tide, but to hold on until the reinforcements arrive. Zhang Xiaobai was not sure if Ascending Dragon City would really notice this dimensional rift. However, at such a time, someone had to stand up and boost the morale. Xianing looked at Zhang Xiaobai with some other things in her eyes. He was obviously an off-key person, but he was unexpectedly reliable at crucial moments. Everyone was silent for a long time after hearing Zhang Xiaobai's words. Subsequently, someone yelled out, Since we are staying, we are not afraid of death. Isn't it just an insect tide? I can handle it. There is nothing to be afraid of. I might not be from Millstone Town, but I can't just watch my comrades get killed by the alien insects. Fight! 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 Slowly. It was unknown if it was because of extreme cowardice or some kind of inextinguishable faith. The aura of everyone present instantly rose with the momentum of a hero. A radiant light spot that could support the morale fused with everyone's morale and shone brightly. A kind of radiant spirit rose from the Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch. Under the night sky's dome, the incorporeal heroic spirit was already enough to resist the dimensional rift. The dark night of the dome is a silent recorder. Sword chi swept across 3,000 miles, and a single sword light shone on 19 provinces. This faith and heroic spirit might not be praised by many people in the future, but it would be forever remembered at this moment. When the radiant light spots gathered together, this power was enough to penetrate heaven and earth. When Lin Yuan felt this heroic spirit, he could not help but want to look up at the sky and laugh. However, at this critical moment, Lin Yuan quickly gathered his thoughts and restored himself to his most calm state. The alien insects may move at any time, and we cannot let them enter Millstone Town. Therefore, our only choice is to face the alien insects outside of Millstone Town. Millstone Town did not only have spirit chi professionals, but it also had ordinary people who did not have the strength to truss a chicken. If they faced the insect tide head-on, they would instantly become the insect tide's food. Moreover, if the alien insects invaded Millstone Town, they would be attacked from all sides, and the alien insects would not be able to defend at all. Soon, the alien insects would break the formation, and everyone would be engulfed by the insect tide and eaten one by one. Millstone Town's city wall was built on 2 mountain peaks, and one side of the city wall connected the 2 peaks. Due to its proximity to the endless forest, Millstone Town's city wall was very thick. Outside Millstone Town, relying on the city wall to fight against the insect tide was undoubtedly the best choice. Lu Pinru had been continuously creating the firm armor silk coat. Although Blackie had been constantly replenishing it with spirit injection, Lu Pinru had obviously overdrawn her spiritual power. Lu Pinru cooperated with her 3 firefly mulberry silkworms and squeezed out all her spiritual power. Now almost all the silver professionals had a set of firm armor silk coat. Lu Pinru's face was as pale as paper, and sweat was sliding down her cheeks. Lu Pinru wiped the sweat off her cheeks and stood up to carry the huge wardrobe that was as tall as 2 people. She lifted her legs and strode forward. Lin Yuan and the Extreme Guild Club's quartet took the lead, followed by the Spirit Chi professionals who had settled in Millstone Town, and the Spirit Chi professionals who were preparing to adventure in the endless forest. Over 1,000 people had a heroic spirit that was indifferent to life and death, and they immediately set up a formation under Millstone Town's city wall. Dozens of firm armor silk coats emitted a faint fluorescent light, and amidst the insect cries, even the silk coats were tainted with a trace of austere aura. Just as everyone was about to set up, Lin Yuan could not help but feel the atmosphere suddenly tense up. Lin Yuan took a deep breath. At that moment, deafening insect cries came from the distance, and the low-grade alien insects were rushing over. It made everyone feel as though the ground under their feet was constantly trembling. Lin Yuan looked into the distance and saw countless yellow, green, red and brown light spots densely packed under the night sky. They were like the waves in the ocean, surging over at an astonishing speed. Behind each dot of light was the eye of an alien insect that was running. Under this menacing sea of insects, everyone circulated their spirit chi and summoned their phase. A war was about to break out. Baidu read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 139. Under the night sky, the surging insect tide brought with it a fishy smell that belonged exclusively to the alien insects. The wind brought by the insect tide spread this smell to the noses of the people below Millstone Town's city walls. Zhang Xiaobai could not help but mutter, "Wow, this smell is so smelly. Fortunately, I didn't eat kidney before." Otherwise I would vomit now. As Zhang Xiaobai muttered, he kept commanding his two fays. One of Zhang Xiaobai's fays was a mediocre defense-type fay, the strong wind clam. The strong wind clam could give other fays a strong wind shield, with extremely strong physical defense. At the same time, the strong wind on the surface could also cause powerful wind blade cutting damage, due to the high-speed flow. Zhang Xiaobai's other fay was a bit strange. It was a fay that was as tall as a person. Logically speaking, fays that were as tall as a person were very common. But it was not common for this fay to be a bloody leech. How much blood did this gold bloody leech usually need to suck to be full? Zhang Xiaobai kept instructing the gale clam to give the gold bloody leech a gale shield, and then put on the bloody leech a full 5 layers of Pinru's wardrobe. My fays are very attractive to the alien insects. Watch my strong wind shield cut the alien insects until their mothers can't recognize them. Little clam, continue to put on the shield and don't be lazy. Otherwise, I won't give you salt and turn you into a freshwater clam. Zhang Xiaobai had returned to his previous unruly state, but his words were very reliable. Xiaoning looked at the unruly Zhang Xiaobai and felt that she had nowhere to put her fists. At that moment, Lin Yuan and the Extreme Guild Club's quartet had taken over the command. The gold fay that Xiaoning summoned was a pure gold big cat with a metallic luster. The big cat's figure was slender and elegant. The big cat was over 1 meter long and had very sharp claws. Xiaoning yelled, "Cat transformation! Cat transformation!" The big golden cat's body ignited with golden flames before it quickly pounced on Xiaoning and finally fused into her body like a shadow. Then Xiaoning's aura changed. The beautiful black pupils in her phoenix eyes turned into golden vertical pupils. These vertical pupils belonged to feline fays and were the same as the big golden cat's vertical pupils. Sharp claws popped out of Xiaoning's hands, and soft golden cat fur grew. There were also 2 golden cat ears on its head. Lin Yuan looked at Xiaoning's transformation and sighed in his heart. As expected, the reserve team for the S tournament had extremely outstanding fays. The exclusive skill that Xiaoning's bronze fay had awakened was actually the rare shape-shifting possession ability. This shape-shifting possession exclusive skill was similar to tool transformation exclusive skills, and it was very difficult to appear. However, shape-shifting possession was different from tool transformation. Shape-shifting possession's exclusive skills weren't weak, and it wasn't like tool transformation's exclusive skills that depended on luck. If you had a good character, you could turn a bicycle into a motorcycle. If you had a bad character, you could only wear skateboarding shoes that exposed your toes. When a spirit chi professional cooperated with a fae with the shape-shifting possession exclusive skill, it was the same as having the fae's combat ability. A large part of the feline fae's combat power was the feline's bestial instinct, and this bestial instinct was perfectly carried by Xiaoning. Xiaoning raised a hand, and the sharp claws on her hand emitted golden flames that were exceptionally resplendent under the night sky. We still have too few people, and we don't have many high-grade combat power. Therefore, those with gold phase will attack from the periphery, while those with silver and bronze phase will stand in 2 rows. If the front row can't hold on, retreat to the back and let the healing-type spirit chi professionals heal. The back row will immediately take over. Immediately after, Xiaoning quickly flashed in front of everyone, and an arc appeared on the ground that was drawn by Xiaoning's claws. In a while, we will use this line as the boundary and use the alien insect corpses to build a firm line of defense for us. Lin Yuan quickly understood Xiaoning's intention. Xiaoning wanted to kill the alien insects along this line, so that the alien insect corpses would constantly stack along this line. As long as there was a gap in these constantly stacked alien insect corpses, they would be able to carry out a good defense. Of course, this defensive method was only limited to the alien insects. Over the years, the constant opening of the alien insect dimensional rifts had given the Radiance Federation's Fey analysts more opportunities to constantly analyze the alien insects, and finally came up with many ways to deal with the alien insects. Rather than saying that the alien insects were living beings with intelligence, It was better to say that they were a race that was willing to devour everything in order to be able to constantly evolve. The low-grade alien insects had very low intelligence and were almost in a state of chaos. Their actions were only based on instinct. Even if there were high-grade alien insects controlling them, in the face of the temptation of a large amount of alien insect flesh, the low-grade alien insects would probably immediately devour the flesh that was at the edge of their mouths. Of course, even for high-grade alien insects, there were almost no high-grade alien insects that could restrain their obsession with evolution. This was because this obsession was engraved in the bones and soul of dimensional life forms like the alien insects. The evolution of the alien insects came entirely from devouring flesh and absorbing the energy in it. Xi and Ying's line could even stop the Class 3 alien insects' footsteps and let them stop to feast. It was also because of this instinct that allowed the people in Millstone Town to use the alien insects' instinctive footsteps as a sharp sword against the alien insects. The cruel instinct of the alien insects to rely on devouring to evolve was also one of the reasons why the alien insects were so terrifying. Any alien insect with a grade would have experienced countless battles on the other side of the dimensional rift and cruelly devoured many of their own kind. Therefore, almost every alien insect with a grade was a veteran executioner. The alien insects actually attacked Millstone Town because of the insect's echolocation, which could help the alien insects find the most living beings to devour. Facing the vast and sparse endless forest's periphery, there was no doubt that Millstone Town had the most flesh energy. This was why the insect tide would flock to Millstone Town. Lin Yuan turned to look at the group of healing-type spirit chi professionals behind him and said loudly, "All healing-type spirit chi professionals, be it bronze or elite, retreat to the back. All healing-type spirit chi professionals, be it bronze or elite, retreat to the back and find an opportunity to heal the injured combat class spirit chi professionals. I'll be the only one left on the battlefield at the front. My fae can heal everyone." Just as Lin Yuan's voice fell, cheers rang out under Millstone Town's city walls. Lin Yuan's words had the effect of boosting morale at this crucial moment. Group healing meant that Lin Yuan could heal multiple targets at the same time, which also meant that everyone present had more chances to receive Lin Yuan's healing. Baidu read the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 140. Lin Yuan knew that in defending Millstone Town and resisting the insect tide, it was inevitable that people would be injured and sacrificed. However, what he could do was to make the other healing-type spirit chi professionals lag behind and let him be in charge of the frontline medical duties on the battlefield. This would ensure the survival of healing-type spirit chi professionals who did not have the ability to protect themselves. Only by ensuring the survival of these healing-type spirit chi professionals would there be more supplies. He was confident that he could rely on his own strength to complete the frontline supply very well. In fact, this was also because his jasmine lily was a fantasy breed. Otherwise, he would not have dared to be so careless. Even if there would be sacrifices in the war, he would do his best to maintain the sacrifice to the minimum of his ability. At that moment, the insect tide was already close, and everyone's faes were ready to face the enemy. At that moment, Lin Yuan finally understood why Tan Ran liked cute cat faes so much, but Zhang Xiaobai had said that Tan Ran had nothing to do with cute faes in his life. Tan Ran's two massive faes, which were 5 meters long and 3 meters tall, were standing there. One was a gold-ranked lava hippopotamus, and the other was a silver-ranked gluttonous hippopotamus. Lin Yuan glanced at Tan Ran, who had curly hair, a Shota face and tender skin. A guess arose in his heart. Could it be that Tan Ran's affinity with hippopotamus-type faes is actually in the direction of hippopotamus-type faes? The contrast was simply cute. Seeing that the insect tide was less than 100 meters away from them, and would reach them in just a few breaths of time, Zhang Xian's eyes widened. Zhang Xiaobai and his fae, the bloody leech, immediately stood in front. With a flash of a knife, Zhang Xiaobai cut his wrist and blood immediately dripped onto the bloody leech's body. Zhang Xiaobai shouted, "Little Hong Hong, use the oily plasma." The bloody leech's body quickly secreted a layer of glossy dark red blood. The blood was very viscous like grease. The bloody leech's oily plasma was actually meant to defend against damage caused by sharp weapons and heavy blows. When the sharp weapons attacked the bloody leeches, they would be separated by the oily blood. Before they could even cut the bloody leeches, the oily blood would slide the sharp weapons away. And if he were to encounter a heavy blow, this layer of oily plasma could also act as a buffer. But now this oily blood was being used as a tool to attract alien insects. The real world wasn't a game. Defense-class Spirit Chi professionals didn't have the ability to mock as it only existed in the game. However, the oily plasma's effect was equivalent to a taunt skill for the alien insects. The oily plasma exuded a thick smell of blood mixed with oil and blood. This smell melted into the night sky and stimulated the strange insects nearby. The alien insects that smelled the oily smell of blood immediately rushed in the direction of the bloody leeches. Zhang Xiaobai was taking advantage of the alien insects' weakness. The alien insects attracted by the smell of blood immediately crashed into the gale shield around the bloody leech. At this moment, the blood leech's body was covered with tens of layers of gale shields. The energy on the surface of the strong wind shield rotated at high speed, immediately shattering these alien insects that had no level. In the end, with the large number of alien insects charging at them, the dozen or so strong wind shields were not attacked at all. Instead, when the strong wind shredded the alien insects, they ran out of energy and dissipated. A large number of low-grade alien insect corpses, on both sides of the gale shield, had built half of the fortifications on this side. The alien insect corpses on both sides were 3 meters high, leaving only a gap where the bloody leech was standing. When Zhang Xiaobai saw that the fortifications were almost built, he immediately led the bloody leech to retreat. Immediately after, he moved to the other side of the battlefield to help build the fortifications and resist the fierce attack of the insect swarm. At this moment, the fortifications that Zhang Xiaobai had built were handed over to the Spirit Chi professionals who had settled in Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch president to defend. On the other side, Tan Rant's gold lava hippopotamus used its gold ability, Smelting Mantle. The land in front of the gold lava hippopotamus suddenly flowed, and the black land slowly turned red, emitting a scorching temperature and crimson flames. Finally, the land in this area turned into slowly flowing lava. Who knew how many alien insects had been melted by the flowing lava? On the side, the gluttonous hippopotamus bit the alien insects that had stepped on its companions' bodies and swallowed them. The alien insect's blood had strong acid toxicity, but this toxicity was nothing to the gluttonous hippopotamus. Lin Yuan looked at the gluttonous hippopotamus data and found that its exclusive skill was very interesting. Fey name: Gluttonous hippopotamus, Fey species. Hippopotamus/hairless horse, Fey grade. Silver, 7 out of 10. Fey type: Water. Fey quality: Flawless abilities. Frowny face, tooth spike. Uses 5-inch long sharp teeth to perform continuous piercing. Hungry eating: The gluttonous hippopotamus is always in a hungry state and will crush and eat the target super quickly. Fasting bullet: The gluttonous hippopotamus stops eating and spits out all the energy accumulated during the eating process at one time, causing an energy explosion. Exclusive skill: Frowny face, evil food filter. The gluttonous hippopotamus will purify and expel all the poisonous and harmful ingredients it eats during the eating process through the special glands in its lower jaw. At that moment, the gluttonous hippopotamus was using its exclusive skill to filter out the acid toxicity in the alien insect's blood and spit it into the insect swarm while chewing the alien insects. The purified acid was sprayed on the alien insect's carapaces, causing the alien insects' bodies to be corroded and softened. When the alien insects with softened carapaces were running in the swarm, their companions' carapaces would cut them into pieces, leaving no corpses behind. Xianing, on the other hand, quickly hunted down the alien insects that were of a higher grade. Be it the Class 1 alien insects that were equivalent to Bronze Phase, or the Class 2 alien insects that were equivalent to Silver Phase, Xianing would jump up and tear with her sharp claws, quickly killing the Class 1 or Class 2 alien insects. The Class 1 and Class 2 alien insects that were killed would be thrown into the insect swarm that was mostly made up of normal alien insects, and it would immediately cause a small commotion. Those low-grade alien insects would frantically snatch the high-grade alien insects' flesh, which was also the reason that greatly slowed down the insect swarm's advancement. Lin Yuan's spirit-gather goldfish was still constantly restoring Lu Pinru's spiritual power, while Lu Pinru was still producing the firm armor silk coat. Chimey was guarding by Lin Yuan's side, while Lin Yuan stood behind Tan Ran. As long as an alien insect crossed Tan Ran's line of defense, it would be killed by Chimey's sound spike. At that moment, Lin Yuan had already summoned the Jasmine Lily. Baidu was the first to read the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 141. When the Jasmine Lily was summoned, the mottled jade-like color on its jade-green fasciated flowers seemed to be emitting an emerald glow. Faint multicolored light rose from within the dark green, making the unadorned flower look very extraordinary. Lin Yuan's Jasmine Lily had evolved into a fantasy breed. In the process of evolving into a fantasy breed, not only had it undergone a swarm mutation, but it had also undergone a fasciation mutation. Even an ordinary creation master would not be able to recognize that the Fei Lin Yuan had released was a Jasmine Lily. When Lin Yuan summoned the Jasmine Lily, the Extreme Guild Club's quartet and many combat class spirit chi professionals could feel that this Fei was quite extraordinary. However, no one would think of this Fei as a fantasy breed. They had never heard of a silver fantasy breed. However, when Lin Yuan used the Jasmine Lily's healing ability, he could not help but feel a little awkward. If he used the Jasmine Lily's fasciated flower to heal, the healing effect would indeed be much stronger. However, the happiness brought by the fasciated part of the healing was fatal to combat class spirit chi professionals in battle. If they were surrounded by this happiness and intoxicated in it, they would be torn apart by the alien insects that pounced on them. Therefore, Lin Yuan could only use the flower at the top of the Jasmine Lily that had not undergone fasciation to heal everyone in the front row. When Xianing killed high-level alien insects in the insect tide, it was inevitable that she would be ambushed by other alien insects and be injured. However, whenever Xianing was injured, Xianing found that there would always be a ray of green light on her body. The surging vitality in the green light could heal the wound with just one circulation. While Zhang Xiaobai's bloody leech resisted a large number of alien insects, the oily plasma on the bloody leech's body was almost scraped clean by the alien insect's attacks. Under the massive insect tide's attack, it was inevitable to be injured by the low-grade alien insect's spikes and fangs. At that moment, there were many fine wounds on the bloody leech's body, and tissue fluid oozed out of the small wounds, almost drenching the bloody leech's body. Just when Zhang Xiaobai felt that the bloody leech could not hold on anymore, a ray of green light would shine on the bloody leech's body. The green light would quickly help the bloody leech replenish vitality and heal its injuries. When the combat class spirit chi professionals in the front row were having the hardest time to persevere, these beams of green light would always bring hope full of vitality. Regardless of whether it was the control of the amount of healing or the timing of the healing, everyone in the front line felt a sense of relief. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't do anything while resisting the insect tide, the people who had been treated by Lin Yuan would probably want to give him a thumbs up. Although this was his first time truly healing other spirit chi professionals, and it was under such a dangerous insect tide, he was still able to heal them. However, Lin Yuan appeared calm and methodical. He did not panic at all. Every time, the Jasmine Lily's flower head would split into 8 healing light beams. 8 healing light beams was the best choice that Lin Yuan had experimented with. Otherwise, if he split too many healing beams, he wouldn't be able to achieve the perfect healing effect. If the number of healing beams was too small, it would cause healing overflow. In this situation where healing was scarce, any healing overflow was an intolerable mistake. He healed everyone on the battlefield according to the frequency of the 8 healing light beams. From time to time, he would also turn around to help the healing-type spirit chi professionals at the back to lighten the burden. Every time there were combat-class spirit chi professionals who were seriously injured and had retreated from the battle, Lin Yuan would use the jasmine lilies embellished flower head to heal them. He would use the jasmine lilies embellished flower head to heal the combat-class spirit chi professionals who had retreated to the back. However, every time he healed them, these seriously injured combat-class spirit chi professionals would uncontrollably let out strange sounds. These strange sounds made this insect-tied battle seem a little strange. Zhang Xiaobai pursed his lips and could not help but mutter as he listened to these strange sounds. Is it really so blissful to be injured by alien insects? Why don't I feel it every time I'm beaten up by Xianing? If this is blissful, what's the difference between Xianing and the alien insects? Xianing was busy killing rank alien insects. When she heard Zhang Xiaobai's words, she felt a fire ignite in her heart. His body, which had become fatigued from the high-intensity killing of the alien insects, and his speed, which had slowed down a little, immediately picked up. After Xianying's cat transformation, her sharp claws struck repeatedly. The efficiency of killing the alien insects was instantly many times higher than when she was physically strong. Lin Yuan found that among the healing-type spirit chi professionals at the back, the healing-type spirit chi professional with the spitting turtle dove had really made a great contribution. Although the spitting turtle dove's ability was disgusting, its sticky saliva could effectively stop bleeding. Therefore, almost every combat-class spirit chi professional at the back who retreated to the back had the spitting turtle dove's sticky saliva on them. Under the pressure of its contractor, the spitting turtle dove frantically spat its saliva in resignation. The spitting turtle dove was now very regretful. If it had known that it would have to spit so much saliva now, it would have said earlier that even if it was not for the delicious gray beetles, it would drink another bucket of water, and the fourth bucket of water. If the spitting turtle dove could speak, it would probably jump up and shout, "I really don't have a single drop left." In less than 20 minutes of such a battle, a line of defense built with alien insect flesh had basically been built. At that moment, a violent collision sound suddenly came from a solid line of defense built with alien insect flesh. A few black spikes pierced through the defense line made of flesh and blood, causing a hole to appear in the defense line. A huge black beetle with spikes all over its body was quickly devouring the alien insect flesh on the line of defense that had been smashed open. This black beetle was one of the three Class 3 alien insects. Class 3 alien insect spiky beetle. Now, one of the three Class 3 alien insects had finally appeared in the insect tide. It was said that alien insects were greedy, and this greed referred to the alien insect's desire for flesh and blood. Even the Class 3 spiky beetle was no exception. At that moment, the spiky beetle was at its most excited. With such a large number of insect corpses piled up here, the spiky beetle could not help but quickly use its mouth to enjoy this gluttonous feast. Xianying's expression turned cold. She circulated the spirit chi in her body, and a golden cat-shaped fey image appeared behind her. Xianying gave Tan Ran and Zhang Xiaobai a look. Zhang Xiaobai and Tan Ran looked at each other, and immediately commanded their feys to attack to attract the spiky beetle's attention. The spiky beetle hissed when it saw the bloody leech and the lava hippopotamus. Sensing that the bloody leech and the lava hippopotamus had power that was not inferior to its own, the spiky beetle rushed toward them. The spiky beetle's best attack method was the sharp thorn's carapace that carried a huge force. Under the huge force, the thorn's penetrative power could even penetrate steel plates of the same thickness as the thorns. The explosive power of the thorns was truly terrifying. At that moment, Xianying had condensed the golden cat image behind her into her sharp claws. Xiao, Xianying, in her cat form, used all her strength to launch a sneak attack on the spiky beetle's weakest spot, Buggy's little anus. Baidu read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 142. During the spiky beetle's charge, Xianying's sneak attack succeeded. When the golden cat phantom hidden in the claws hit the spiky beetle's weak point, it exploded. The entire golden cat phantom scuttled into the buggy's small anus. This attack, which carried Xi Ning's full force, exploded in the spiky beetle's body. Even though the spiky beetle was a Class 3 alien insect, Xi Ning, a B-rank power offense-type spirit chi professional with a gold fei, had hit its weak point with her full force. Although it was still struggling, this struggle was clearly the spiky beetle's final resistance before its death. Soon, the spiky beetle completely lost its life and was motionless. Zhang Xiaobai immediately commanded the bloody leech to suck the spiky beetle's blood. The bloody leech could quickly replenish the stamina lost during the battle by absorbing blood. A large part of the defense line built by the alien insect flesh under Millstone Town's city wall was Zhang Xiaobai and the bloody leech's credit. If the bloody leech had not used the oily plasma to lure them, the fortifications would not have been built so quickly. At that moment, everyone had been fighting hard for nearly an hour, and their stamina had long been depleted. They were still persevering in the battle, relying on the faith, protection, and desire to live in their hearts. Zhang Xiaobai's bloody leech sucked the spiky beetle's blood dry. The spiky beetle's acidic blood caused the bloody leech to suffer serious injuries, but it recovered its stamina very well. Then, Zhang Xiaobai commanded the bloody leech to fill in the fortifications that had been knocked open by the spiky beetle. The spiky beetle's carapace was facing outward, and the low-grade alien insects that collided head-on were pierced by the spikes like Tonghalu. It seemed that the spiky beetle had also contributed a lot to the fortifications. Under the night sky, the battle was still going on. Lin Yuan could completely feel that everyone no longer had much stamina. Not only had the front row's defense become a little strenuous, but even the combat class spirit chi professionals with bronze and silver phase in the back row had also rotated much faster than before. New injuries were barely healed, and old injuries were added before they healed, making it hard for everyone to hold on. Healing-type spirit chi professionals were already rare, including healing-type spirit chi professionals with spitting turtle doves and bronze phase. The spiritual power in these healing-type spirit chi professionals' bodies had long been overdrawn. At that moment, Lin Yuan suddenly received an intimate greeting. This greeting came from Lin Yuan's spiritual spatial zone. Red Thorn had already awakened from its previous evolution, and Lin Yuan had a pleasantly surprised expression on his face. Red Thorn's awakening had come at the right time. Lin Yuan summoned Red Thorn without hesitation. A nearly 2-meter-tall strange plant appeared beside Lin Yuan's hand. At the center of the 2-meter-tall plant was a huge sphere. The folds of the sphere were covered with sharp teeth. Every sharp tooth was a bloody mouth. This organ of Red Thorn was the mouth of Relinquish that had evolved after reaching the bronze grade. Above the mouth of Relinquish grew a layer of huge, but stacked flesh-like flowers. The flower was full of wrinkles and carried a strange fragrance. The digestive cavity that Red Thorn had transformed from growing the mouth of Relinquish was already filled with the powerful acid that Red Thorn had refined from digesting the flesh of various dimensional life forms. Not only could the acid help the mouth of Relinquish digest, but it could also be spat out by the huge rose-shaped flowers growing on the digestive cavity. The first 18 vines that grew from Red Thorn could already extend to a length of 7 to 8 meters. It was as thick as an arm, and the barbs that originally grew on it now had many new jagged teeth. The newly grown vines on the periphery had also reached the thickness of a thumb. Not only did it have barbs, but the barbs were also hollow. When it pierced into the target's body, it could also inject the acid from Red Thorn's digestive cavity. At this moment, Red Thorn was more like a killing machine than when it was at elite rank. However, this wasn't the reason why Lin Yuan was confident in Red Thorn. The real reason he was confident in Red Thorn was because of the new layers of flesh-like flowers on the mouth of Relinquish. This was an organ that grew from Red Thorn's new exclusive skill when it evolved to bronze grade. This organ was the spore cavity. Lin Yuan yelled, "All combat class spirit chi professionals at the front, retreat. Protect the combat class spirit chi professionals at the back. Spirit chi professionals with gold phase, pay attention to killing the alien insects with grades." Everyone didn't understand why Lin Yuan would give such an order, but their instinctive trust in Lin Yuan made the quartet retreat at the same time. Red Thorn had not seen Lin Yuan for a long time. At that moment, the smooth vine that Red Thorn had specially evolved for Lin Yuan was wrapped around Lin Yuan's wrist. It expressed the intimacy of Red Thorn's bloodline, which wasn't considered high in intelligence. Lin Yuan held the smooth vine and said, "Red Thorn, release your spores to your heart's content. Red Thorn, release your spores to your heart's content and devour all the alien insects that can be devoured." Red Thorn could feel the alien insect corpses all over the ground, and the countless alien insects not far away. It conveyed a joyful emotion. In Red Thorn's naive opinion, these alien insects were food that Lin Yuan had sent to it after it had just awakened. The spore cavity on Red Thorn's mouth of relinquish trembled. Countless spores drifted out from the layers of flesh-like petals, and each of the spores flew to the alien insect corpses and quickly took root. In just a few seconds, Red Thorn's spores absorbed all the alien insect corpses' energy. As a result, it grew into a miniature version of Red Thorn, with only one digestive cavity and several vines. These spore newborn child ramets divided into rhizomes and quickly connected together, transferring energy to each other. A few stalks that were closest to Red Thorn were directly rooted in the alien insect's flesh defenses. They were also the strongest cluster of ramets that were connected to all the child ramets that grew from the spores. Finally, these strong cluster of ramets placed their roots on Red Thorn's roots and transferred the energy absorbed by the numerous child ramets in the sea of insects. Everyone defended for over an hour, and the killed insect corpses were quickly absorbed by these child ramets that were spread all over the mountain. Red Thorn was still constantly releasing spores, so new and tender child ramets were quickly growing again. The child ramets that had previously grown were also constantly becoming stronger, growing from a height of 30 centimeters to nearly half a meter. If the rose-shaped flower in the digestive cavity spun, it would be able to swallow most of the alien insects. Each child ramet had a digestive cavity, and the digestive cavity had a large and beautiful red rose-shaped flower. Under this night sky, the sea of flowers was hidden in the meandering vines with sharp barbs. This scene was both beautiful and strange. Amidst the strangeness, there was also an extreme magnificence. While this sea of flowers was rapidly digesting the alien insect corpses, it had already started to sweep up the alien insects. Most of the alien insects didn't have a grade, and most of these alien insects weren't even at the normal grade. Such alien insects were the best soil for the child ramets to absorb nutrients. The sea of flowers spread toward the alien insect sea, as though it had already treated the alien insect sea as the most sumptuous dinner under this night sky. Everyone in Millstone Town, including the quartet from the Extreme Guild Club, looked at the flourishing sea of flowers that suddenly appeared in a daze. They then looked at Lin Yuan and Red Thorn's quartet, and could not help but swallow their saliva. The vines danced without flowers, and the sea of insects trekked among the flowers. Baiduan read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 143. It was almost midnight under the night sky. The chill of late autumn had already climbed up and constantly stimulated the water vapor in the air, forming a faint cold mist. Everyone felt their throats tighten as they watched the endless sea of flowers collide with the endless insect tide and kill to their heart's content. However, the people in Millstone Town suddenly felt their tense nerves loosen up. At least the sea of flowers and the insect tide were now in a deadlock, allowing everyone to finally have a chance to breathe. The Extreme Guild Club's quartet looked at Red Thorn's quartet standing beside Lin Yuan, and then at Lin Yuan. They could not help but feel that Lin Yuan was simply a boy of surprise. Every time at a critical juncture, Lin Yuan would always be able to stand up, be it the previous reconnaissance phase that could recover spiritual power, or the frontline healers by himself. Just as everyone was about to be unable to hold on, he summoned a strange plant species Fei, and controlled the insect tide's advancement. Xianing sensed the quartet beside Lin Yuan's hand. Xianing could feel that this 2-meter-tall strange plant, that she had never heard of before, did not have a high grade. It only had bronze combat power. However, this plant phase ability was simply too powerful. It looked like it was specially born to control this insect tide. However, Xianing, who had participated in the tournament, did not think so. Looking at the normal child ramets in this sea of flowers, and the elite ramets beside red thorns or tet, Xianing deeply felt the terror of Lin Yuan's plant fey. If this plant fey's grade reached diamond, then what kind of lethality would the platinum ramets and countless gold child ramets have? If that was really the case, wouldn't this fey alone be able to resist a class 3 insect tide? Lin Yuan did not know what Xianing was thinking. In fact, if he knew, he would have smiled bitterly. Lin Yuan was not having an easy time now. Red thorn was constantly releasing spores from the flesh-like petals at the top of the mouth of Relinquish, which was actually consuming Lin Yuan's spiritual power. Lin Yuan was already a little overwhelmed, so he quietly activated the spirit chi imprint on his back. The spiritual power stored in the spirit chi imprint was supporting Red Thorn to constantly release spores, making the sea of flowers even more prosperous. It was all thanks to Blackie's exclusive skill, spirit chi imprint. Otherwise, even if Red Thorn had such an ability, Lin Yuan's body's spiritual power wouldn't be able to support it. Another point was that if Red Thorn's spores wanted to grow into child ramets, it would require a large amount of flesh energy. It was also thanks to the alien insects that everyone had killed that the spores released by Red Thorn could quickly form a sea of flowers. However, Xianing was right about one thing. If Red Thorn really reached diamond, it would have a large number of insect corpses and sufficient spirit chi in Lin Yuan's body. The sea of flowers formed by Red Thorn's spores could really defend against a class 3 insect tide by itself. When Xianing saw Lin Yuan's figure standing by the sea of flowers, she knew that this youth had a bright future. Xianing narrowed her eyes and said to the people behind her, "Everyone who still has the ability to kill rank alien insects, follow me." Xianing could already see that this sea of flowers might be able to control those alien insects that were below normal, and could even be in a stalemate with normal alien insects. However, if they encountered elite alien insects, these elite alien insects would start to struggle in the sea of flowers. The barbs on the vines of Red Thorn's child ramets might be able to pierce the carapace of the elite alien insects. In fact, the barbs on the vines could even tear open a hole in the carapace of the elite alien insects, causing corrosive insect blood to flow out with strong acid. However, the struggle of these elite alien insects would easily tear off the vines of the child ramets, and even crush the child ramets. Therefore, to these elite alien insects, the sea of flowers wasn't considered very useful. However, under the attack of a large number of child ramets, the elite alien insects would still perish. However, to those rank alien insects, the sea of flowers was even less useful. The class 2 alien insects had silver power, and when they rampaged in the sea of flowers, they would soon destroy a large area of the sea of flowers. Xianing, Zhang Xiaobai, and Tan Ran led the other 2 spirit chi professionals with gold phase to kill all the class 1 or class 2 alien insects that were wreaking havoc in the sea of flowers. When they encountered some elite alien insects, they would also kill them. This would undoubtedly reduce the pressure on Red Thorn to spit out a large number of spores to nurture the sea of flowers. It was also the same as reducing the consumption of spiritual power in Lin Yuan's body. In fact, the degree of damage to the sea of flowers was considered a small matter in the current situation. There were simply too many normal and low-grade alien insects that were not even normal, and they were potential nutrients for the growth of Red Thorn's child ramets. Some of the earliest batch of child ramets had already grown close to 1 meter tall. In terms of body size, they were almost at the ramets level, and such child ramets' combat power was already just a trace away from elite. Such child ramets didn't even need to attack with vines when fighting against normal alien insects. They just needed the flowers on the digestive cavity to spin open and reveal the sharp teeth inside to easily devour these normal alien insects. The large amount of acid in the digestive cavity could also quickly digest the devoured alien insects. After turning the devoured alien insects into energy, a portion of the energy would be given to Red Thorn's mother ramets. The other portion would be absorbed by the child ramets themselves and become stronger. At the same time, Red Thorn's mother ramets still didn't stop spitting out spores, and these spores were still continuing to expand the Sea of Flowers advantage. While these spores were expanding the Sea of Flowers advantage, they would also rapidly replenish the damaged parts of the Sea of Flowers. Because these child ramets' rhizomes were all interconnected, even if some places where the Sea of Flowers killed fewer alien insects, the nutrients would be perfectly shared with these rhizomes. If Red Thorn encountered some Class 1 alien insects that wantonly destroyed the Sea of Flowers, it would also rapidly mobilize its energy. It would transmit the energy to the large number of child ramets near that Class 1 alien insect, and these child ramets would rapidly absorb the energy transmitted by Red Thorn's mother ramets to grow into elite ramets. Red Thorn was already at bronze, so the ramets were also at elite. A large number of ramets would surround and kill the Class 1 alien insects and devour them to offset the consumed energy. In the stalemate between the Sea of Flowers and the insect tide, the Sea of Flowers still had the upper hand. The Sea of Flowers nutrients came from the insect tide, but the insect tide was unable to replenish any nutrients from the Sea of Flowers. However, there were simply too many alien insects. Even if these alien insects were devoured one after another by the Sea of Flowers, there would still be countless alien insects rushing over. The Sea of Flowers vines danced, and the alien insects hissed. This stalemate had almost been close to an hour. This kind of stalemate was actually the best thing that could happen to everyone at the moment. Such a stalemate could give the injured people and their contracted phase time to recuperate. These injured combat class spirit chi professionals and phase were still waiting for the healing type spirit chi professionals to heal. Lin Yuan's spirit gather goldfish was no longer injecting spirit chi into Lu Pinru. Instead, it was replenishing the exhausted spiritual power in the healing-type spirit chi professionals' bodies. It allowed these healing-type spirit chi professionals to have spirit chi to urge their phase to release abilities and heal these combat-class spirit chi professionals that were alternating between old and new injuries. Baidu was the first to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 144. This stalemate lasted for another half an hour. All of a sudden, an alien insect that looked like a glowing green object at night appeared at the edge of the Sea of Flowers. This glowing green alien insect was the second Class 3 alien insect that appeared among the 3 Class 3 alien insects in the insect tide, the acid tapeworm. When everyone saw the acid tapeworm appear, they heaved a sigh of relief and had solemn expressions. Previously, when killing the Class 1 and Class 2 alien insects in the insect tide, every combat class spirit chi professional with a gold fey needed to be extremely vigilant. They carefully observed the movements of the alien insects around them. This was because they did not know which alien insect the third Class 3 alien insect, the heart-penetrating iron line, was residing in and would launch a sudden attack. Now that the acid tapeworm had appeared, it meant that only the Class 3 alien insect, the heart-penetrating iron line, had not appeared. Everyone retreated to the defensive position and was preparing to deal with the acid tapeworm together. As a Class 3 alien insect, the acid tapeworm's defense was not strong and could not even compare to a Class 1 alien insect. However, the acid tapeworm was a very terrifying existence because of the green acidic liquid in its body. When the acidic liquid was spat out, the damage it caused could even corrode sand. Even a gold fey would have a large piece of flesh instantly melted when it came into contact with a little bit of this acidic liquid. If a gold fey came into contact with too much of the acidic liquid, it would even cause damage to its roots. Just as Xining, Zhang Xiaobai, Tan Ran, the Millstone Town Guild Alliance branch president, and the burly man from outside were preparing to attack the acid tapeworm, Red Thorn suddenly became excited. When Lin Yuan sensed Red Thorn's sudden excitement and intense emotional fluctuations, he quickly understood the reason for its excitement. It felt like Red Thorn had seen something it liked to eat. The leaf-shaped diamond fey storage box that the Moon Empress had given Lin Yuan contained a large amount of dimensional life form's flesh. As Red Thorn ate these different types of dimensional lifeforms' flesh, it slowly developed a picky eating habit. According to Lin Yuan's observations, Red Thorn preferred to eat dimensional lifeforms' flesh that contained a lot of acid in their blood. Among them, the flesh of alien insects and abyss lifeforms was the most acidic. The acid tapeworm's carcass could be found in the leaf-shaped face storage box. Red Thorn had always been drooling over the Class 3 acid sac insect's flesh, but Lin Yuan didn't let it eat it. Previously, Red Thorn was only an elite. It was very likely that it wouldn't be able to digest the level 3 acid tapeworm. Instead, it would be injured by the acid tapeworm's powerful acid. When Red Thorn saw the acid tapeworm, the vine wrapped around Lin Yuan's wrist shook in a flattering manner. It was like a pitiful puppy wagging its tail when it saw delicious food. Lin Yuan looked at the acid tapeworm at the edge of the sea of flowers and nodded. When Red Thorn had been at elite, Lin Yuan had only fed it the flesh of silver dimensional lifeforms. Now that Red Thorn had reached bronze, it shouldn't be a problem for it to eat some gold dimensional lifeforms' flesh. Red Thorn's roots that were stabbed into the ground suddenly erupted with powerful energy. This energy wave made Lin Yuan feel as though the ground beneath his feet was forming a layer of air waves. This energy was the energy that the child rabbits had absorbed from devouring the large amount of alien insects' flesh and blood. Red Thorn transferred all this energy to the child rabbits at the acid tapeworm's feet. Those child rabbits that received Red Thorn's energy grew rapidly, and they quickly grew into rabbits that were 1.5 meters tall. These 1.5 meter tall rabbits were at the pinnacle of the elite tier. This was the current limit of the rabbits grown from Red Thorn's spores. There were nearly 100 pinnacle of elite rabbits that were 1.5 meters tall that were produced by Red Thorn's large amount of energy. At that moment, nearly 100 pinnacle of elite rabbits that were 1.5 meters tall waved their barbed vines and swept toward the acid tapeworm. At that moment, the acid tapeworm sensed the attack and was about to spit out its acid. Lin Yuan raised his hand and circulated the spiritual power in the spirit chi imprint to release the blue flash purple butterfly's ability, Silence Scale Powder. When the Silence Scale Powder landed on the acid tapeworm's body, it effectively stopped the acid tapeworm from spitting acid. In fact, the acid tapeworm's acid would not be silenced by the Silence Scale Powder, as it did not need to communicate with the spirit chi of heaven and earth. It just released the acid in its body. However, the blue flash purple butterfly's exclusive skill, Scale Powder Halo, did a great job. The scale powder reflected the green light emitted from the acid tapeworm's body, causing light pollution that made the acid tapeworm feel dizzy for a short period of time. What Lin Yuan wanted was the short period of dizziness caused by the scale powder halo. While the acid tapeworm was dizzy, the pinnacle of elite rabbits wrapped around the acid tapeworm's body. The barbed vines pierced through the acid tapeworm's skin, which was not strong. The vines firmly fixed on the acid tapeworm's body and pulled forcefully, dragging the acid tapeworm from the edge of the sea of flowers into the sea of flowers. The acid tapeworm's translucent skin, which was not strong to begin with, was torn apart by the pinnacle of elite rabbits that Red Thorn had produced. A large amount of green acid sprayed out. When the acid landed on the child rabbits in the sea of flowers, any child rabbits that were not at normal would be corroded and withered as soon as they came into contact with the acid. Normal child rabbits would not be able to last long before turning yellow and gradually being corroded clean. However, any rabbits that had reached the elite tier would be able to withstand the corrosive acid. In fact, being able to withstand this acid was because Red Thorn had absorbed a large amount of alien insect flesh and had already developed a great resistance to the acid in the alien insect's blood. Moreover, Red Thorn's body's super strong digestive fluid was evolved from consuming a large amount of acidic dimensional lifeforms' flesh. The elite rabbits spun open the rose-shaped flowers on the digestive cavity, revealing dense rows of sharp teeth. The sharp teeth immediately bit through the acid tapeworm's skin, and the digestive cavity pierced into the acid tapeworm's body. It began to rapidly absorb the acid tapeworm's body's acid. Then it offered all the energy to Red Thorn's Ortet. During the process of the ramets devouring the acid from the acid tapeworm's body, Red Thorn's mouth of relinquish was gradually becoming more acidic, according to the ramet's offerings. The Class 3 alien insect was completely killed by Lin Yuan's silent scale powder and Red Thorn's wave of attacks. In fact, he had been able to kill the Class 3 acid tapeworm mainly because he had used the control ability, silent scale powder, to catch them off guard. The Sea of Flowers had already begun its attack, and the weak defense of the acid sackworms. Everyone was shocked by Lin Yuan's operation. This was a Class 3 alien insect that was comparable to a gold fay. Tan Ran couldn't help murmuring, "This Lin Yuan is the legendary social elite, right?" Zhang Xiaobai scratched his head and asked when he heard Tan Ran's words. "Tan Ran, what is a social elite?" Xiaoning looked at Zhang Xiaobai's silly look and rolled her eyes. "Don't you know what a social elite is? A social elite is a person who gathers all the people in society, compress, refine, filter, compress, refine and filter many times." Zhang Xiaobai was dumbfounded when he heard Xian Ying's explanation and blurted out, "Isn't that scum?" 166 Reading Network. Chapter 145. It was unknown if Zhang Xiaobai's brain circuit was strange, or if he was deliberately teasing everyone. In any case, the nervous mood of the people below Millstone Town's city wall had suddenly dispersed. Apart from Xiaoning, everyone was laughing heartily. Xiaoning felt that her fist was itching again. At that moment, a sudden change occurred. Zhang Xiaobai originally wanted to casually command the Silver Gale Clam to launch the normal ability, Gale Blade, to kill a Class 1 alien insect that was destroying the Sea of Flowers. When the Gale Blade struck the Class 1 alien insect, it should have split it into two. However, when the Gale Blade struck the Class 1 alien insect's body, it was like striking an iron plate. There was a crisp sound of metal clashing. At that moment, a 2-meter-long black iron wire suddenly shot out of the Class 1 alien insect's body and went straight for Zhang Xiaobai's heart. Zhang Xiaobai wasn't considered far from this Class 1 alien insect. It was less than 15 meters away, and the heart-penetrating iron line arrived in the blink of an eye. When Lin Yuan heard that crisp duong sound, he knew that something was wrong. He hurriedly and subconsciously urged Red Thorn to grow a large number of elite ramets in front of Zhang Xiaobai. However, these elite ramets only caused the heart-penetrating iron line's attack to pause for a moment. They didn't stop the heart-penetrating iron line's thrusting figure. This was because Red Thorn had produced 6 elite ramets from 15 meters away. The digestive cavity of these 6 elite ramets had a bowl-sized hole caused by the heart-penetrating iron line. However, the pause caused by Lin Yuan's heart-penetrating iron line gave Zhang Xiaobai some time to react. In addition, Xiaoning had also recovered and pounced over. In her shock and anger, Xiaoning unleashed almost all the strength in her body into this claw attack. The sharp claw struck the heart-penetrating iron line's body, and there was a metallic sound. It was also thanks to Xiaoning's all-out attack that the heart-penetrating iron line's trajectory was deviated, allowing the heart-penetrating iron line, which was originally heading for Zhang Xiaobai's heart, to shoot toward another point. However, the heart-penetrating iron line immediately twisted its body in the air and forcefully changed its direction, continuing to pierce Zhang Xiaobai. However, due to Zhang Xiaobai's dodge, the heart-penetrating iron line didn't accurately penetrate Zhang Xiaobai's heart. Instead, it penetrated Zhang Xiaobai's shoulder bone. When the heart-piercing iron line pierced through the shoulder bone, it twisted slightly and tied the iron wire-like body together. After the heart-penetrating iron line brushed past Zhang Xiaobai, his arm fell to the ground. "Zhang Xiaobai, Brother Xiaobai, your hand." Zhang Xiaobai. Woo woo, woo. This sudden turn of events caused everyone to be stunned. Had Lin Yuan and Xiaoning not been fast enough, Zhang Xiaobai's heart would have been pierced by the heart-penetrating iron line and turned into a lifeless corpse. However, even if Lin Yuan and Xiaoning reacted fast enough, Zhang Xiaobai still could not save his hand. What Zhang Xiaobai lost was not just his hand, but his entire arm, including his shoulder blade. Zhang Xiaobai's face was already pale from the pain, and he was covered in cold sweat. His other hand, which was not broken, covered the wound tightly, but a large amount of blood still spurted out from the wound. Even the 10 fingers were connected to the heart, let alone an entire arm. The heart-wrenching pain made Zhang Xiaobai's vision turn black, and he almost fell to the ground. However, before Zhang Xiaobai's vision turned black, another violent pain made Zhang Xiaobai's body tremble. It was as though he could not even use his strength to cover the wound. Xiaoning had always had a strong style, but when she saw Zhang Xiaobai's suddenly severed arm, she knelt on the ground in a daze. She didn't even blink her eyes, but her tears continued to fall down her cheeks. From the moment Zhang Xiaobai's entire arm was severed, Xiaoning knew that Zhang Xiaobai's life was over. Even if this insect tide was safely passed, Zhang Xiaobai's hand would probably not be healed. The core of the Extreme Guild Club's tournament's official team was the Radiance 100 sequence number 18's White Devil. Xiaoning knew that even White Devil did not have the ability to regrow a severed limb. There were very few healing-type spirit chi professionals in the Radiance Federation, and there were even fewer high-ranked healing-type spirit chi professionals. Even if the Extreme Guild Club invited a king-class healing-type spirit chi professional, they might not be able to regrow Zhang Xiaobai's severed arm. The standard to be called a king-class expert was to have at least one fantasy breed Fae and reach A-rank spirit chi professional. Only such an expert could be called a king-class expert. King-class experts were no longer simply the spirit chi professional's grade or the Fae's strength. They were both considered together. For example, some spirit chi professionals had reached A-rank but did not have a fantasy breed Fae. Under such circumstances, they could not be called king-class experts. Some prodigies, such as the Radiance 100 sequence members, had fantasy breed Faes, but their spirit chi professionals were not at A-rank. Similarly, they could not be called king-class experts. King-class experts were considered true experts in the Radiance Federation, and such experts were not easy to invite. Moreover, king-class healing-type spirit chi professionals were still the rarest among king-class experts. In the Radiance Federation, the ratio of combat-class spirit chi professionals to healing-type spirit chi professionals had always been about 150:1. At the king-class level, the ratio of combat-class spirit chi professionals to healing-type spirit chi professionals was not so exaggerated. However, king-class healing-type spirit chi professionals were still less than 1/20th of king-class combat-class spirit chi professionals. It was just like the Extreme Guild Club's tournament's core White Devil. According to true combat strength, White Devil would not be ranked in the top 30. The reason why White Devil was ranked 18th in the Radiance 100 sequence was that she was a healing-type spirit chi professional. A healing-type spirit chi professional's strategic significance was far greater than combat significance. Furthermore, even if a king-class healing-type spirit chi professional was invited, each king-class healing-type spirit chi professional would have different fantasy breed Faes. Every healing-type fantasy breed Fae had different abilities and exclusive skills, and the healing aspect was also different. Some healing-type king-class experts were adept at detoxification, while others were adept at healing spiritual injuries. However, in the Radiance Federation, Xiaoning had never heard of a king-class healing-type expert's fantasy breed Fae that could regenerate severed limbs. Moreover, even if there was such a king-class healing-type spirit chi professional, the Extreme Guild Club would have to pay a huge price. Would they really be able to invite such a king-class healing-type professional over? Tan Ran and Lu Pinru were currently attacking the heart-penetrating iron line, which had been seriously injured by Xiaoning's all-out attack. However, Tan Ran and Lu Pinru looked at Zhang Xiaobai with indescribable worry. Finally, Tan Ran roared, "Lava hippopotamus, use lava bomb!" A ball of boiling lava fireball shot out of the lava hippopotamus' mouth and smashed onto the already seriously injured heart-penetrating iron line. The heart-penetrating iron line burned and turned into charcoal. Tan Ran's voice had a sobbing tone, while Lu Pinru's eyes were also red. Zhang Xiaobai's teeth were chattering in pain as he watched Xiaoning kneeling on the ground and crying because of him. Zhang Xiaobai struggled to pull up the corners of his mouth and revealed a simple and honest smile. "Xiaoning, my arm is broken, and I might be disabled in the future. Will you support me? Baidu immediately read the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 146. Zhang Xiaobai originally wanted to be mischievous and stop Xianing from crying. However, he did not expect Xianing to cry even harder. Zhang Xiaobai was shocked and hurriedly said, Don't cry. I don't need you to raise me. Look at how scared you are." Xianing stood up and rushed over without a care for anything, hugging Zhang Xiaobai. Xianing's action caused Zhang Xiaobai to grimace in pain. At that moment, Zhang Xiaobai heard Xianing say softly, "I'll raise you for the rest of your life. Actually, my Star Web card's password has been your birthday since a long time ago." Zhang Xiaobai was already numb from the pain. The severe pain and massive blood loss made him unable to stand. If not for Xianing's support, Zhang Xiaobai would have fallen to the ground. However, after hearing Xianing's soft words, Zhang Xiaobai's face, which was pale from the pain, had a little color. He felt that his broken arm was not so painful anymore. The president of Millstone Town's Guild Alliance branch was standing at the side, but he did not know what to say. He was a young elite, a youth from the reserve team of the B-level Guild Club's tournament team. In order to protect the dimensional rift that had suddenly opened in Millstone Town, he had become a cripple for the rest of his life. Many Spirit Chi professionals who were fighting alongside Zhang Xiaobai in Millstone Town were also red-eyed. Everyone's killing speed of the alien insects had more than doubled, venting all their respect and worry on the insect tide. Lin Yuan took a deep breath and stopped supplying spiritual power to Red Thorn. As Lin Yuan stopped supplying spiritual power, the flesh-like flower on Red Thorn's mouth of Relinquish no longer spewed out new spores. Lin Yuan looked at the flourishing sea of flowers in front of him. This flourishing sea of flowers was enough to resist the alien insects. A large number of child ramets had already evolved into elite ramets after devouring the alien insects' flesh and blood. In such a massive sea of elite ramets, the insect tide that had lost the Class 3 alien insects no longer needed more spores to expand the sea of flowers. Lin Yuan sensed that the Spirit Chi in the Spirit Chi imprint was almost depleted, and looked at the people fighting. Then he looked at Zhang Xiaobai, who had a broken arm. Without any hesitation, he took a deep breath and activated the Jasmine Lily's exclusive skill, Recovery Imprint, which he had never activated before. In an instant, as he activated the Recovery Imprint, a Jasmine Lily totem pattern appeared on his forehead. The Jasmine Lily totem bloomed with light on Lin Yuan's forehead. The massive healing ability of the Recovery Imprint was transmitted into the fantasy breed Jasmine Lily's body. In an instant, the Jasmine Lily bloomed with the light of recovery. Lin Yuan burned all the remaining spiritual power in the Spirit Chi imprint. All the flower heads of the fantasy breed Jasmine Lily sprayed healing green light at the same time, releasing the massive amount of healing energy accumulated in the recovery imprint. The green light spots formed by the heal ability were directly transmitted to the bodies of every Spirit Chi professional present. Since everyone present was severely exhausted, whether it was physically or mentally, being immersed in the healing green light was like having a pleasant dream. The green speck of light was neither bright nor resplendent, but the warm speck of light contained a majestic life force. It was like a firefly flying out of the wind, and dew at the end of the green duckweed's life. The firefly twirled and danced gracefully, giving the Spirit Chi professionals, who were suffering from new and old injuries, the most intimate comfort in the beautiful dream that they were immersed in. No matter how severe the injuries were, the healing light spots would circulate, and after a moment, all the injuries on the body would be healed. Even their mental state would almost reach its peak state. It was also at this moment, Lin Yuan controlled the fantasy breed Jasmine Lily's topmost flower head to shoot out a thumb-thick green light. The green light drilled into Zhang Xiaobai's body like a spirit snake, causing him to feel much less pain. Being nourished by this surging life force, Zhang Xiaobai felt his weakness and fatigue being swept away. All of a sudden, Zhang Xiaobai felt an extremely itchy feeling coming from the broken part of his shoulder and arm. Zhang Xiaobai turned his head and stared with wide eyes. because Zhang Xiaobai found that his arm was regrowing. Everyone present, including Xianing, was stunned by the miraculous scene in front of them. This was the credit of the exclusive skill that Lin Yuan's Jasmine Lily had awakened when it evolved into a fantasy breed. Lin Yuan knew that the fantasy breed Jasmine Lily's exclusive skill, Severed Limbs, could regrow severed limbs. However, he did not expect that it would consume so much healing energy and spiritual power to regrow an arm. After Zhang Xiaobai's arm was completely regenerated, Lin Yuan realized that there was no healing energy left in the recovery imprint that he had accumulated for several months. The spirit qi in Lin Yuan's body was also completely depleted. If it were not for red thorn's vines still supporting his wrist, he would probably not be able to stand now. At that moment, a ray of dawn had appeared in the gray night sky. This sudden ray of dawn instantly blasted the outline of the distant mountain, dispelling the cold of the late autumn night, and also dispelling a corner of this dark night. A ray of dawn shone on a youth wearing a silver mask. The youth's figure was in a somewhat sorry state, due to the exhaustion of spirit qi. The youth's figure contrasted with the large sea of flowers next to him, and the insect tide that was still surging into the sea of flowers. This ray of dawn elongated the youth's figure, and also lit up a miracle outside Millstone Town under the dome. This miracle was created by a youth, and it belonged to this youth and every spirit qi professional fighting outside Millstone Town. At the same time, this miracle also belonged to Hui Yao. This miracle made everyone in Millstone Town look at the youth, wearing a silver mask in front of them in a daze. Their eyes were filled with amazement, gratitude, reverence, and that trace of unconcealable fanaticism. This endless sea of flowers, and the thousands of green lights of redemption, were engraved in the minds of every spirit qi professional in Millstone Town. At that moment, Zhang Xiaobai suddenly rushed toward Lin Yuan and shouted, "Black! You're really my lucky star." Zhang Xiaobai was undoubtedly the most agitated person at that moment. Zhang Xiaobai, whose entire arm had been cut off, had recognized the reality and helplessly accepted his fate. Zhang Xiaobai, whose entire arm had been amputated, recognized reality the moment his arm was amputated. He had already resigned himself to his fate. However, he did not expect Lin Yuan to actually regenerate his arm. This was undoubtedly a grace of rebirth. To Zhang Xiaobai, this was a miracle that saved the rest of his life. When Zhang Xiaobai rushed over, Red Thorn immediately got into an attack state. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan hurriedly stopped Red Thorn's actions. Lin Yuan originally thought that he would receive the impact of Zhang Xiaobai's bear hug. But who would have thought that the other 3 members of the Extreme Guild Club would also rush over at that moment? Xian Ying's eyes were filled with tears, but her smile was unusually bright. She looked at Zhang Xiaobai's regenerated arm, and a salty teardrop slid down the side of her nose. The only difference was that her tears were not tears of sorrow, but tears of joy and joy. The trio and Zhang Xiaobai had long seen that Lin Yuan's spiritual power was overdrawn, and was trying his best to hold on. Therefore, Zhang Xiaobai, Xianing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran gave Lin Yuan a gentle hug from all sides, so that he did not have to support his spiritual power overdrawn body alone. This hug was especially warm in the cool autumn dawn. This was a hug that belonged to comrades who had experienced life and death together. Read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.